times has been decided by a last-second field goal. For the 77th consecutive time, over 100,000 jammed into Michigan Stadium. Bo Schembechler, knowing full well that the road to the Rose Bowl has to go through the Iowa Hawkeyes. ABC Sports presents college football. Iowa's quarterback Chuck Hartley has made 3 starts, and the Hawkeyes have won all 3 games. Demetrius Brown has had the tough task of replacing the Big Ten's most valuable player last year in quarterback Jim Harbaugh. His job has been made easier, the running of Jamie Morris, the league's leading ground gainer. The Hawkeyes and Wolverines, knowing they can't afford another conference loss, are their hopes for the Rose Bowl will be shattered. Michigan losers last week to cross-state rival Michigan State, hoping to rebound and keep their hopes alive for a return trip to the Rose Bowl, and here come the Wolverines. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender along with Lynn Swan. And Lynn, the Big Ten has turned upside down. I think maybe we shouldn't be too surprised because some of the people that are expected to lead this conference started the year without a proven quarterback.
And you can't win in this conference without a proven quarterback. Last week, Demetrius Brown had the kind of game, well, he doesn't think back fondly about. He likes to forget. He threw for 7 interceptions. But Bo Schembechler is going to start him. His football team has rallied around him. They continue to show support and confidence in this young man. We're going to find out this afternoon just how talented he is and how tough mentally this young man is.
The start of the year, Lynn, Iowa had 3 guys vying for the starting quarterback role, but Hayden Fry now has gone to Chuck Hartley. He calls him a winner.
Shan McGuire was the man they expected to start. He was injured. Chuck came in. He started 3 ball games, and he's won 3 ball games. We talked about not having the quarterback with the experience in the Big Ten. Hayden Fry said earlier this week, the team that wins the Big Ten championship is going to be the team with the hottest quarterback, and Chuck is hot.
And right now, Chuck Hartley is very hot. He's completed 71% of his passes as now the Hawkeyes of Iowa, Hayden Fry electing to bring them in after Michigan had taken the field. 100,000 on hand for this one. The stage is set. Very big game here in the Big Ten. Hawkeyes and Wolverines. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Honda, who invites you to experience the new Civic 4-door sedans at your local Honda dealer. Michelob Light. When the sun goes down, light up the night with Michelob Light. By the makers of the CFA VCR College Bowl game. You don't have to be a football great to play great football. By the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. Ann Arbor, Michigan Stadium. Now another member of our broadcast team on the sideline, Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. Before the game, Michigan head coach Bo Schembechler alerted the officials about Iowa nose tackle Dave Haight, number 64. When he gets down in his stance, he will make a lot of herky-jerky motions with his arms. He'll scream and shout to try and throw off the offense. Against Michigan State, he drew them offside 7 times. It is illegal. It is a 5-yard penalty to interfere with the opposing quarterback's cadence. The officials have been alerted to it. If he does it a number of times, it could be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. The official will move in closer to keep an eye on Dave Haight, and so will we throughout the afternoon. Gary?
Steve, thank you very much. Michigan center John Vitale has practiced all week long to try to offset what Dave Haight does, the moving around and the screaming and yelling. And Bo Schembechler is alerted his team. He's alerted the officials, and as Steve mentioned, will be on top of it. Iowa has won the toss. They have elected to receive. Earlier today, it rained here in the Ann Arbor area, but the field had been covered. It's an absolute superb playing condition. And the temperatures, well, it's just football temperatures, what it is. A special day when you come into the Big Ten, the bands, the crowds, the beautiful changing of the leaves. Where else would you rather be on a Saturday afternoon, Lynn Swan?
Well, when I was a player in the Pac-10, I never had a chance to play one of these teams this time of the year. Never had a chance to play Michigan. So there is no other place I'd rather be this afternoon than watching this football game against two great teams.
That's Mike Gillette who will kick off. You saw the twin men just a moment ago, Tony Stewart and Peter Marciano back for Iowa. And yes, Marciano is related to the former heavyweight champion. He is the nephew of Rocky. So Gillette is ready. Michigan losing to Michigan State last week. Iowa beating Wisconsin after losing earlier to Michigan State. Very unusual beginning to this Big Ten Conference season. Gillette will place it. The referee for today is Tom Quinn. Supervisor of the Big Ten officials, Gene Galloon, is here to oversee that little controversy that could occur between Dave Haight and Michigan. Well, the ball's thrown off the tee again. Gillette has a chance today, by the way, to become the all-time leading field goal kicker for Michigan. The next field goal he kicks will be number 32, and that breaks the record by Ali Haji. Ready finally now. The ball's in place, and we're underway. This is Stewart. Stewart is a freshman out of New Jersey. They're very excited about him, and he'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Stewart will see a lot of playing time due to the ankle problems of Kevin Harmon. From the 25, Chuck Hartlieb and Iowa will come out. This football team has been averaging 31 passes a game. They've had good balance. This man, a junior out of Woodstock, Illinois, he led his high school to the state championship. And as we said on the pregame show, Hayden Fry says he's a winner. He says he finds a way to win football games. 3 starts, 3 victories. David Hudson, along with Tony Stewart and Richard Bass, as they come on that power right. Back to Stewart. He goes nowhere. Tony Stewart is stacked up in a hurry by this Michigan defense. You can see how fired up they are. John Herman, number 96, and a true freshman, the name of Cornelius Simpson over there. There's the offensive line. Bob Schmidt replacing Bob Kratz, who's out for the year. Stewart, the freshman. Hudson, a big, strong junior fullback. Quinn Early, their leading receiver. Watkins, a high school teammate of Dan McGuire out in California. And he's really been coming on to this Iowa team. Double tight end alignment. Mike Flagg and Craig Clark come in for Iowa. Second down, almost 10.5 yards to go. Hand off to Hudson. No place to go. He'll lose a couple of yards. Keith Cooper, number 92, was there. And Cooper is quite a story, Lynn Swan. He's a former outside linebacker starting in the middle.
Yes, he is. We were watching film with him the other day, and he calls all the signals for this defensive unit. And he said he was a little nervous, trying to concentrate, get it all done, but he was going out there with the confidence he could make it happen.
Here's the rest of that defense. T.J. Osmond replacing the injured Billy Harris. The linebackers, they've been having some problems with it, so Simpson and Cooper starting in the middle for the first time. Arnold, outstanding cornerback, and Mallory, well, he's the coach's son. Bill Mallory, the head coach at Indiana. Third down, 13. Hartlieb over the top, trying to make the grab is Mark Mazzari, number 40, but he's out of bounds, and it'll bring up 4th down. Defending on the play was number 10, Alan Bishop, a senior out of Miami. So the first series goes no place, and Iowa has to get rid of the football. John Colazar will go back to receive the punt for Michigan. And Michigan expecting to have some success today because Iowa's kicking game is suspect. This guy, Mark Adams, who's going to punt, is struggling. He is 9th in the Big Ten with an average of 38.5. Not exceptionally long. Colazar comes up, fields it, and he'll move it to the Iowa 48-yard line. At the 48, good field position for the Wolverines. A 32-yard punt that time. A 7-yard return by Colazar, the junior out of Westlake, Ohio, the fastest player on this Michigan team. So Demetrius Brown, trying to forget last week with the 7 interceptions. You would think they'd like to get him some success early. I know they want to throw a lot of the short stuff underneath.
Well, it's not just throwing the short passes, but it's also making sure that there's a running game to support him. So he doesn't feel like he has to win this football game on his arm. If he feels he has to throw to make this ball game a victory, then his confidence could be shaken.
He's thrown 11 interceptions, as we documented it, 7 last week against Michigan State. From the 48 of Iowa, Jamie Morris. Morris at 5'7", advancing to the 45-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll bring up second down 3. Jamie Morris, third in the nation in rushing, 687 yards. 4 of 5 games this year, he's been over 100 yards.
He's not a big running back. Very small. He's tough. You see, like, his total yards are 9,000. What's that?
970 and 68. Those 3 games, they've shut him down, and that's not the characteristic way of Morris playing. They've really been able to contain the man who will soon become the all-time leading rusher at Michigan. Second down, 7. Bunch, Webb, and Morris now in the backfield. This is Morris again. And Morris inside the 45 to the 43. A gain of 2. It'll be third down and 5 yards. Let's look now a little closer at this Michigan offense. Elliott is huge. He is an outstanding player. He weighs over 300 pounds. Vitale's the guy that has to contend with Dave Haight at that nose guard spot. McMurtry, the number 1 draft pick of the Boston Red Sox in '85. Kolazar, we've talked about him. Jared Bunch is a big, strong fullback. And when they tackle him in practice, they talk about getting the Bunch protectors on because he's that tough. On a 3rd and 5, Brown back to throw. Has time. Jeff Brown, the tight end. First down to the 35 of Iowa. So Demetrius Brown on his first attempt is successful. Brown with his 6th catch of the year.
It's a short pass to his tight end, but more importantly, look at the trajectory on this ball. He didn't want to overthrow it, didn't want to give anybody else a chance. Look how low that ball comes in around his knees. He wanted to make sure if Brown didn't catch it, nobody else would.
J.J. Puck over there to make the stop along with Brad Quast, the 2 linebackers. A little bit of a smile on Bo's face after that completion. First down now at the 36. Michigan with their first series of the game. Demetrius Brown to Jamie Morris. Morris inside the 35 to the 32. Jared Bunch with a big block that time. Defensively, Iowa's been tough to run on this year. Haight is the leader up front, but Thomas is coming off of his best game ever of a week ago. Burke is a former quarterback playing at the defensive end spot. Foster is a freshman out of the Texas area, and Quast was voted by Sporting News the top freshman linebacker in the country a year ago. Sistrunk and Burke very strong at those safety positions. Second down now, 6 yards to go for Michigan. No score, just underway in this first quarter. Kolazar in motion. Brown gives to Morris. He's in trouble this time. Dave Haight was there. And Haight, the leading tackler on this ball club, a year ago set a Iowa record by having 20 tackles against Michigan. Let's go back and watch 64.
Well, watch Dave Haight right here. He's a big man. He comes in. He's got good feet, good quickness. You see right there, he just sheds the blocker right there, Mike Huzar, and then gets you right into the middle of the play. Right now, he's not doing what Steve Alvarez was talking about in terms of making sounds, calling up a signal. But if they have success to move down, then we'll look for him. I think that's when he'll start trying to do it.
Third down and 7. Brown. A lot of time. Wide open. The man over the middle is McMurtry. That'll be a first down catch at the 18-yard line. And Brown now showing good patience, good poise in the pocket. Completes this one for 16 yards.
He stood well in the pocket. He got great protection. Matter of fact, some people with his running ability, and he does have it, will have taken off and run right here because he's got a lot of room. But he stood there in the pocket, found his receiver, and zipped that one in chest high. No way he wanted Greg McMurtry to drop that one.
McMurtry is a sophomore, played last year as a true freshman out of Brockton, Massachusetts. 16-yard pickup to the 18 of Iowa. So Brown is 2 for 2. This time it'll be Morris. Morris stays on his feet, across the 15 to the 14-yard line. Pick up a 4. It'll be second down 6. Brad Quast, the sophomore out of Des Plaines, Illinois, over to make the stop. When Jamie Morris was recruited, and really was not recruited heavily by Michigan, Bo Schembechler thought with his size at 5'7" and 180 pounds, he might at best be a kick returner. And now he's going to be the all-time leading rusher.
He looked at him and wondered, why are we giving this guy a scholarship?
If you know the heart on this guy, it's as big as this ballpark. You can understand why. Second down 7. Trip Welburn is in the ball game. He is split to the top of the field. There's Haight moving a little bit. Here's a give to Morris, trying to take it outside, inside the 15. He'll advance close to the 11-yard line. Will bring up third down, still 3. Good pressure put on that time by Mott. Jared Bunch trying to throw the lead block as they were able to turn the far side.
Mott did a good job coming upfield that time, but Bunch just stopped him. And, of course, Jamie saw the block, read it to the outside, and was able to get by Sistrunk, who also came up on that play.
Bo Schembechler has been having some health problems. He's been having problems with kidney stones. In fact, he's going to have the ultrasound treatment Monday to crush him, and then a week from tomorrow will have an operation. He's in so much pain, he just can't last the rest of the season without some kind of repair. Third down and 4. Wide open is Jeff Brown, and Brown knocked out at the 3-yard line. So Jeff Brown now on the receiving end of 2 passes on this drive. Sets it up inside the 5. Brown, a junior out of Shaker Heights, Ohio.
Demetrius Brown is a left-handed quarterback. All right, when he sets up, his back is now facing the right side. Normally, an offensive unit's right side is your strength, and a lot of times you get pressure. On that play, number 5, Mike Burke, was coming in from the outside. Demetrius couldn't see him. He had 1 second to get that ball up and just made it.
Both of those catches by Jeff Brown are on third down. Now it's first and goal, just inside the 3. Jamie Morris will not make it in. He gets to about the 1-yard line area. Myron Kepi, one of the tackles for Iowa, number 77 in on the stop. You look at this Michigan line, it's huge. Elliott, 306 pounds. Huzar, 270. Vitale, 289. Chester's a little runt. He only is 260 pounds, but they're tough when you get down in this part of the field.
They are very tough, and so the Iowa defense is going to be very tough. They're number 1 in the Big Ten, so they're not going to give up this yardage easily.
Second and goal, just outside the 1-yard line. Trying to take it in himself. No indication that he got in. Straight ahead, it's him. Touchdown.
Number 67, John Vitale at center. Number 74, Mike Huzar tackle. They fire off the ball. 64, the other guard, Dave Chester. They just make enough room for the young quarterback, Demetrius Brown, to go over the top for the touchdown, and his confidence has to be intact at this moment.
Well, they had to wait to get off of him, see if he got over the goal line. Late signal. Gillette had it blocked, and could that be big? Coming through was Merton Hanks, number 45, a freshman. And you don't need to be told how big that point could be before the afternoon is over. 7:35 to go in the first quarter. Michigan leads it 6-0.
Fan explosion as the USC Trojans go head-to-head with the Washington Huskies. Next on ABC's College Football.
This play could prove to be the big one. It's a blocked extra point. We'll see Hanks come right in from the outside and block this kick. He gets good protection here, but it's the outside pressure that spoils this particular play. Last night in the big ball game between Indiana and Minnesota, it was decided by 1 point. We could be looking at the same kind of ball game this afternoon.
6-0 as Gillette. Believe it or not, are you ready for this? And we talked about this yesterday in our meeting. He had kicked 66 straight PATs. And remember, our producer Joel Feld said, the minute we talk about it, something will happen.
It's the kiss of death.
Isn't it, though? So now it's 6-0, but an impressive initial drive covering 48 yards. 2-yard touchdown run by Demetrius Brown. Here is Stewart. Tony Stewart will bring it out again. And he'll advance to the 19-yard line. And that's where Iowa will try it for the second time. Their first series picking up absolutely no yardage. So Hartlieb will come in. Remember last week, though, Lynn, this Michigan team started very effectively against Michigan State.
They started effectively. They moved the ball extremely well. But it was just the offense that came apart with all the turnovers and all the mistakes.
The run by Brown now has been officially recorded as a 1-yard touchdown rather than 2. From the 19-yard line, Iowa will try it again. Hartley sends in motion Quinn Early, number 1. Pitching back to Stewart. And Stewart will advance out to the 24-yard line. A gain of 5. It'll be second down 5. Well, that last drive, the initial series for Michigan, took a lot of time. Covered 48 yards after a very mediocre punt.
Well, the offense has got to help their defense with long scoring drives because their defense for Michigan has been hurt by a lot of injuries. The linebacking core in particular. Now, this group, this defensive unit for Michigan in their linebacking core has sustained 5 injuries. 5 people have been hurt that would have been starters for this ball game. They've had to shift people around. One ball player, Keith Cooper, is just getting back from an injury.
Hudson, along with Grant Goodman in the backfield. Hudson trying to carry, not getting a lot of operating room. Brings it out to the 25, to the 26. It'll be third down. Still 3 yards to go. And Cornelius Simpson, the true freshman out of Highland Park, Michigan, over to make the stop. He likes to be called Neil. He's only 215 pounds. Cooper alongside him, 216 pounds. And Bo was talking about, we got to get some beef on these guys. And they're both young, and they'll get stronger. You can bet on that. Hayden Fry, 3-3 against Michigan.
Boy, that's a stare you wouldn't want to face in a poker game.
Boy, the thoughts behind those dark glasses. He's a psychology major. Very, very good game coach. Here's Hartlich in trouble, trying to get rid of it. He does, and it's incomplete, intended for Tony Stewart. Hartlich had draped all over him Mark Messner, the all Big Ten defensive end, and Messner really fouled this play up.
Messner last week had 8 tackles, for the season, has 8 tackles for losses and 2 sacks. He just beats his man on the outside, Bob Schmidt, and just almost gets that sack right there.
So it's a fourth down. Bob Schmidt again replacing Bob Cratch at that offensive tackle spot. Cratch, one of the premier tackles in the country, is out for the year with an ankle problem. This is Adams again punting. He's going to get a roll on this one, and it's going to roll to the 36-yard line of Michigan. So Michigan with a 6-0 lead gets the football for the second time. 5:52 to go in this first quarter. Michigan with a 6-0 lead gets the football for the second time. And again, not an exceptionally long punt. Iowa with a 37 and a 32-yarder thus far. That was one big concern Hayden Fry had coming into this game was the kicking game. The coverage, the punting. They do have a good field goal kicker in Rob Houghton. From the 36, Demetrius Brown. Giving off to Morris. Morris across the 40, out to the 42, 43-yard line. Pick up a 6. Let's go down now to Steve Alvarez.
Training, you will see the Wolverines take off their shoes. Why? Because they will change their shoes. They're wearing AstroTurf shoes for dry weather, but they have the longer spikes of the rubber cleats if they need it. If the rain comes down, they need a little more traction on this slippery turf. Gary?
I tell you, I thought you were going to have to wear that the way the day started out.
Hey, I got quick feet, believe me.
Second down now, 3 yards to go for Michigan. Operating now from their own 43-yard line. McMurtry split to the bottom of the screen to the near side. Brown to Morris again. This time gobbled up. Joe Schuster, number 72, a junior out of Faribault, Minnesota, was there to make the stop. Well, Indiana, big win last night in Minnesota, on top. Michigan State, who's beaten both Iowa and Michigan, and Minnesota losing for the first time last night. It's going to be quite a chase before this one's all over.
It certainly will be, and as we said earlier, we don't think a team is going to win this conference with 2 losses.
Well, we should mention, too, if Michigan ends up tied for the conference championship, they will not go to the Rose Bowl because they went last year. So they have a little more ground to have to make up. Third down now, 2 yards to go for Michigan. They come out on the wishbone. On the option, Brown, he pitches back to Webb. Phil Webb, the senior out of Romeo, Michigan, has the first down. That's something that Bo will use quite a lot. He has another quarterback, Michael Taylor, who runs the option maybe a little bit better than Demetrius Brown. But they've used it effectively, especially goal line, short yardage situations.
And it's a play, obviously, you have to read. That time, Demetrius did a good job of reading Mike Burke, number 5, who came in on the play. But number 45, Merton Hanks, the corner, came up and stuffed the play nicely.
Michigan, 3 of 3 on third down drives were all passes. 1 and 1 on this drive. So 4 of 4 for the day on third down. They've done a very, very good job. This time, handoff to Jared Bunt. Bunt, freshman red shirt, 227 pounds. He just hits like a ton. There's guys like that, Lynn, and I'm sure you've been in the situation as you look at the stop by J.J. Puck, that Bunch is the kind of guy you don't want to practice against. We used to say that about Mike Ditka when he was playing, and I'm sure you had guys like that.
Well, not to take anything away from Bunch, in order to play real good football, he's got to go 100% all the time. He's not a gifted player, which means he is going to play very much like he practices. So he practices 100%.
Second down, 8, a gain of 2. Kobazar comes in motion to the near side. Brown, little fake, rolling to the far side. McMurtry, he's out of bounds. Pretty good fake that time by Brown. That's a tough pass to throw for a left-hander, moving to the right-hand side. Almost made connections with McMurtry.
It's a slow developing play because McMurtry, number one, has to go downfield 20 yards for this out cut. But the problem here on a play like this is the timing. Now watch him. He has to turn his body set in time. That ball should have actually been delivered at the break. He waits until his receiver has already broken and throws the football. Then there's no more sideline. He's out of bounds.
So the receiver, if you're Lynn Swan, comes back to the huddle and says, will you throw the ball on the break?
No, you don't push him. You just say, just a little bit earlier, please.
There's the game we were talking about last night. Indiana, who will play this Michigan team next week with a victory. Third down now, 8. Pressure from Schuster. Chester trying to help out Demetrius Brown. This one he just gets rid of. Good coverage that time by Iowa, and it all started with defensive tackle Joe Schuster, who was in the backfield. And he made Brown scramble, come out of the pocket, and have to get rid of the football.
On that play, you had a good example of what Brown's foot speed is like. He gets away from those people, his head's up, he's looking downfield. Bo Schembechler said, he wished he would have run a little bit more in those earlier ball games. He might have gotten himself out of some trouble, but he doesn't want to, so he hangs in that pocket.
Here's Peter Marciano back. Monty Robbins, who is 7th in the nation in punting. The senior out of Great Bend, Kansas. Will punt this one from his own 35. Borowski with a snap, and Robbins hit it very well. Marciano at the 13. And there to make the stop is Arnold. David Arnold. There is a penalty flag at the point of impact. So, withstanding this penalty, the line of scrimmage would be at the 14-yard line. Monty Robbins is one of many fine punters of the Big Ten. They have 3 in the top 10 in the rankings this week.
We have clipping on the return.
Let's see if we can pick it up in the replay, the clip.
Take a look. Here's Marciano tossing it back up in the air. Now he's catching it again. Watch him get to the outside. Here's the clip right there. You see the push right in the back. Mike Burke, number 5, who plays on the defensive unit. We'll be right back. 2:56 in the first period.
What a way to start your married life. Just married. A nice little reception here for him, Lynn, in Michigan Stadium. They even have the priest with them, and very happy-looking man, huh? And woman.
How many people can say they had 100,000 people attend their wedding? Huh?
Where does your marriage go from here?
Anywhere you wanted to.
Here is Iowa trying to get out of a very bad field position. Tony Stewart climbs forward for 6 yards. Let's go back down to Steve.
Thank you, Gary. I'm with Alan Jefferson, the tailback for Michigan, who broke his arm earlier this week in practice. You're going to be out the rest of the year, it looks like.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be out as long as I have to, but hopefully I can come back by Old State game.
Hey, how's Demetrius Brown's attitude been this week after 7 interceptions?
I don't think Bo let him get down that much. I think he's confident. He knows what he's doing. He just need a little more experience. He'll be all right.
All right, thank you, Alan. Back up to you, Gary.
Second down now, a long 3. Give to Stewart again, and he is very close to their initial first down of the game. Alan Jefferson, the freshman out of Detroit, had a 70-yard touchdown run this year against Washington State, and he was their kickoff return man, and Bo really misses him.
He certainly does. That's the longest run for a touchdown this season for Michigan. Great versatility, and I think you can get a hint of his personality in that interview. He's got that strong tailback kind of confidence. He's the kind of person that says, hey, if I'm on the football field, we're going to win, and my teammates are great. You notice how he just gathered around Demetrius Brown, not trying to take anything away from him.
Third down, a yard to go. Iowa needs to get something started. They give to Hudson, and he's going to have to struggle if he gets it at all. Dave Hudson, a 235-pound junior out of Waxahachie, Texas, And I don't know if he got the first down. Good reaction by the interior of that Michigan defense. Getting up last, Keith Cooper, number 92, and they're going to measure. So Iowa needs something to happen offensively, and obviously they hope this measurement goes their way.
Certainly do. Cornelius Simpson, number 65, number 92, Keith Cooper, the inside linebackers, just got in there, filled the gap. Looked like they just burrowed under that offensive line to come up with the stop.
And they didn't get it. They did not make it. So you got another fourth down. They're going to have to get rid of the ball again, and Iowa just can't get any field position in this game.
The last time they punted, Alan Bishop, number 10, came off the end. Looked like he was in good position to block the punt. Didn't look like he was going real hard. We'll see this time if number 10, Bishop, puts a tougher charge on there, because getting him backed up in his end zone, he might feel, we block this punt, it's an easy touchdown.
Kolazar, meanwhile, will wait back at the 50-yard line. Fastest player on this team to return the punt. Adams will punt it from the 5. There he is. He's a junior college transfer out of eastern Utah. He was a junior college All-American, but has been very inconsistent, and, of course, a lot of pressure on this one. Here comes Bishop, and he got a piece of it. You call that one, Lynn. Let's see where they'll mark it. Bishop got a piece of it. He was so close the last time, and this time he got there.
He came off the outside. The coaches upstairs in the booth, or Alan Bishop himself in the situation, will come off and say, I think I can do it. You see the block on the outside? He doesn't get a real good push. He jumps up. He misses the ball, actually. It's just a bad punt. It's a bad punt. But he'll still keep coming. Great field position for Michigan.
Began the season in a quest for this trophy. Now the final challenge remains. The Cardinals and the Twins. Game 1 tonight on ABC Sports.
This is Alan Bishop. This is Arnold. They're putting pressure right here. He's going to dive in here and go for the block. He almost blocked it early in the ball game. Now, even though it appears he makes the hit, he doesn't touch the football. He dives early, but he rushes the punter, forcing him to make a bad kick, giving Michigan the football on Iowa's 31-yard line.
Looked like he dropped the ball kind of on the ankle area, did not hit it with his foot. It's a 15-yard punt. Sets it up at the 31-yard line for Michigan, who leads it 6-0. Iowa, 3 drives, 3 plays, and 3 punts. Here comes Jamie Morris inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Coming up next, the second half of our ABC College Football doubleheader. The USC Trojans take on the Washington Huskies. That's another one of those games where you can't afford to lose another conference battle, and both Washington and USC have dropped one in Pac-10 play. We have an Iowa man shaken up.
Dave Haight, number 64. The nose guard, the man that is really the anchor and the key to the defensive line of Iowa. If he is out of this ball game, they are hurting.
They are hurting, and this is their main man, Dave Haight, out of Dyersville, Iowa. All Big Ten performer. Hayden Fry is concerned enough to come out there. Haight is a 6'3", 260-pounder. Let's see if we can pick up how he got hurt.
Well, take a look. You see right there, as deserving his talent, he is being double-teamed, and right there he just tripped. Dave Chester, number 64, was one of the men blocking him. Number 67, Vitale, was also blocking him. And he just tripped over the back of their foot, going after a ball player. Now, he prides himself on his great lateral speed in his pursuit. Worked on it during the offseason. Wants to chase down those quarterbacks so they can't get away from him. And in that effort, he just tripped over the back of Chester's foot, and he was down.
Well, not only do we have a doubleheader in football, but one of the classics, the World Series begins. They'll have those Homer Hankies out, I'm sure, as the Minnesota Twins and the Cardinals. Joe McGrain, the rookie, the left-hander, against Frank Viola, the left-hander, live at 8 o'clock. Gary Gaetti, the most valuable player in the American League Championship Series, and there's the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. He's something to watch. Boy, what a series it should be, and as you look around, you cannot find a more classic, spectacular setting than we're having here today. The leaves starting to change, temperature crisp, but just very, very pleasant. The rain has subsided. We have, for the 77th consecutive time, 100,000 people on hand. And if you've never been here and watched the bands and the color and the excitement, well, I'd encourage you to get here if you can. I don't know if you get any tickets. That's the only problem.
It is tough. It is tough for the students here to get tickets and people on the outside, the alumni to get tickets, even though there are 100,000. Matter of fact, when you talk about having 106,000 people here, a lot of it is seats, chairs they actually put down on the field at times to get other people in there.
Haight comes out. As you noticed, he was wearing a knee brace. Hayden Fry has all of his people wear that, his linemen, but it still didn't seem to keep him from being hurt on the play. 2nd down and 8 now as we resume play for Michigan, who leads us 6-0. Demetrius Brown to Jared Bunch, the fullback, and he'll pile drive his way close to the 26-yard line, be some 5 yards short of the first down, and bring up 3rd down. Well, this year, they sold 95,000 season tickets. They've never had a year where the ticket demand was so heavy, they returned some 4,500 applications. Don Cannon, the athletic director, by the way, stepping down as the head man here after 20 years. The former track coach, NCAA high jump champion. We wish him very well. He has really put together quite a juggernaut here at the University of Michigan. 3rd down, a long 5. Brown with time. Jamie Morris stretching to come up with a catch, but he's going to be short of the first down. And I'll tell Jamie at 5'7", used every inch of his height on that play, making the catch at the 25-yard line. We have come to the end of the first quarter. It'll bring up a 4th down when we come back. 6-0, Michigan. Michigan to go for a field goal. This guy, Mike Gillette, beat him last year with a field goal. If he hits this one, he'll become the all-time leading field goal kicker at Michigan. This will be his 32nd of his career. 42 yards out. The kick is on the way. Gillette is right down the middle. It's good. So you're now looking at the man who's kicked more field goals than anybody in Michigan history. Well, we talked about Bo Schembechler, the problems he's having with the kidney stones. Here's an update on his progress.
Well, I'm all right. Probably kill an ordinary man, but I'm hanging in there. I'll get this thing straightened out in the next couple of weeks here.
But it is tough, isn't it, Bo, to be on the sideline and fighting pain and trying to keep your concentration?
Really, the first and third periods, I'm real fine, but when I'm on my feet that long in the second and fourth period, I find it really difficult. So I'll go in Monday and get something done, get these stones smashed. It's not a big deal. I'll only miss one day.
Well, he'll go in Monday, and then the following Sunday, a week from tomorrow, they'll have to go in and operate to remove what they have done with the ultrasound. I would think right now, though, he's feeling a little bit better with a 9-0 lead.
Well, he's feeling a little bit better with a 9-0 lead, but kidney stones cause an awful lot of pain, a lot of problems. And as you said, it's tough in the second and fourth period, and it can be tough to concentrate.
So the 42-yarder by Gillette makes it 9-0. Well, if Bo can't shut out pain, I don't know who can. Gillette ready now. Iowa still looking for their initial first down of this game. This will be Marciano. He picks it up, brings it out to the 10, and he's buried. Outstanding reaction by Michigan, and you can see they have been lifted by their offense. And at the 11-yard line, that's where they'll set it up. Tim Williams, a backup linebacker, number 85, was down there. He's out of Milwaukee, and that little bobble cost Marciano.
As you can see the first quarter stats, and there's no surprise there. It's all Michigan. They've controlled the ball. The yards aren't real big because they've had excellent field position and have not had that far to move.
Boy, you can't use your game plan, can you, Lynn, when you don't have field position?
It's extremely difficult. We'll get into these game plans after this play.
Hartley back from the end zone. Swinging out a screen to Kevin Harmon, who's come in. And Harmon, who we didn't know if he'd see any action today, brings it out to the 15, 17-yard line. They pick up 6. It'll bring up 2nd and 4.
After the game against Michigan State, the Iowa team looked at Michigan and felt what we have to do is get the ball to the outside, challenge the corners and the outside linebackers because the linebackers have been hurt, put some pressure on the running game. Then go up top. The Iowa team has been averaging 31 passes a game. So then go back to the outside, pound them, and get away with it. So far, they've had to run the ball, mostly off tackle and up the middle. They haven't had room to operate.
Here's Hartley changing the play on a 2nd down and 4. A little delay handoff. Harmon again. Harmon close to the first down, but it'd be a yard and a half short. Harmon has had some severe ankle problems. He didn't practice all week long. They had a brace that they had put on his ankle, and he broke the brace. So they had to make a new one. You can see he's wearing the tennis shoes, and that's so tough when you're a cutback runner, when you're inhibited with a bad ankle like that.
They say his running style is much like a Dodger, where he's just bouncing in and out, quick cuts and so forth, and that doesn't help. If he was smooth, a glider kind of a running back, it may not be as much of a problem.
It's 3rd down, a long 2 to go. Mark Mazzara is in at wide receiver. Hartley gets out of trouble. Messner chasing, and now he's buried.
Alan Bishop, number 10.
Also there was T.J. Osmond, number 94. There is a penalty flag at the 15-yard line. But Messner was there first and chased him, flushed him out of the pocket, and then a help arrived. Looks like we're going to have holding, and we will against Iowa.
Whenever the official throws that flag back there, usually you think it's going to be a holding call. Number 60, Mark Messner, come in from the outside. He's going against number 60, Bob Schmidt. He comes in. There's the holding right there. He gets away, puts on pressure. But on the backside, the cornerback, number 10, Alan Bishop, was a man who kept coming. When the pressure was right in front of him, he couldn't throw the football. Bishop comes in, teams up with his teammate, number 94, T.J. Osmond, for the sack.
That's a 9-yard loss. They're going to refuse the holding penalty because of the loss. It's 4th down, and Iowa still seeking their initial first down. Will punt again. We're 13:22 into the 2nd quarter, and already this man, Adams, will be attempting his 4th punt of the game. And they're coming after him. They've got 10 men up there. Here they come. He takes his time. Almost there was Tim Williams. This is Colazar. He'll field it and try to return it, making it to the 46-yard line of Iowa. A lot of pressure on Adams. Welcome to the Big Ten. It's a long ways from Eastern Utah to Michigan Stadium. 58-year-old Hayden Fry, and there's an interesting distinction. Only coach to win Coach of the Year honors in the Southwest Conference. That was at SMU, Missouri Valley, at North Texas State, and, of course, at Iowa. Well, his team just can't get on track offensively. That last punt, under a lot of pressure, Adams able to get it out 39 yards. And Michigan, with a 9-0 lead, has the football at the Iowa 46. Coming in now to the ball game is Trip Welburn, number 3. He's split to the top along with number 2, Chris Calloway. So 3 wideouts as McMurtry comes to the bottom. Brown gives off to Bunch, and Bunch picks up considerable yardage inside the 35. Well, Hayden Fry was concerned about his kicking game. He talked about it in this way.
Well, number one, we have to eliminate our mistakes, particularly in the kicking game. We just do not have a good kicking game, and we can't give Michigan field position, whether it be a kickoff return or a punt return. We can't have any punts blocked. On the other hand, we need to block a punt. We need to run a punt or 2 back. I think Peter Marciano is capable of doing that. But that's the big thing for us, to eliminate our own mistakes.
Well, right now it has not gone according to how Hayden would like to have it. Bunch on that last carry picked up 12. This time he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Myron Kepi out of Durant, Iowa, over to make the stop for Iowa. Well, you look at it, Lynn, I guess you got to look at it from the standpoint Iowa's only down 9-0, considering how that first quarter has gone. They haven't picked up a first down. They've been backed up all afternoon long, but they don't want to get much further behind, because this Michigan team, when they get you down, boy, they come after you.
Michigan has just had the ball in Iowa territory all afternoon. They haven't been on their own side of the 50-yard line yet.
2nd down, they lost a yard on that play. 2nd and 11. Jeff Brown in motion. Brown is going to throw. Open Colazar. 5. Touchdown.
John Colazar, number 40, maybe the best wide receiver on this football team. He's got 4.4 speed. He just goes downfield on the post on the left side. We can see him all the way. He splits the safety. You see the other safety coming over, but that was a perfect pass by Demetrius Brown.
Kozar, his second touchdown catch of the year. He's coming back from a broken collarbone of a year ago. Gillette, point after, is on the way. It's good, and it's 16-0. 11:59 to go until halftime. And the Wolverines, they're playing very well.
Hey, do it in Redskins. The Dallas Cowboys. It's a battle atop the NFC East on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Well, this sellout crowd watching the home team, Michigan, play relentlessly. They have a 16-0 lead, and one of the big stories has been Demetrius Brown. He is 5 of 7 for 69 yards. Just tossed that touchdown pass to Kolazar, covering 35 yards. And Iowa, and I'm sure Iowa fans begrudgingly remembering this, still looking for a first down in this game.
Mike Gillette to kick off for Michigan.
Gillette's been a busy man. Gets into this one very well. Marciano from the goal line. 15 and really drilled at the 17-yard line. That's Carlitos Bostic, number 99, jumping around after making that stop. They have gotten down there so quickly on the last two kickoffs. The last one is at the 11-yard line, this one at the 18.
What Gillette did on the last kickoff and the one before this one was to kick the football into the corner, one side of the field. And that gives your defensive coverage team, your kick coverage team, a chance just to isolate on an area as long as they get down to it quickly, and that time they did.
Remember now, the last two games in this series have gone down to the very last second of the game, won by field goal. Right now, Michigan with a 16-0 lead. Hartley trying to bring him back. Over the middle, and it's caught by Marv Cook, the tight end. He has the first down of the game for Iowa, and much, much more as he's down to the 27-yard line. That'll bring you back in a hurry. David Arnold over to make the stop. The Burley Jr. out of West Branch, Iowa.
Marv Cook, they used three big tight ends. He's caught 17 for 275 yards and one touchdown. Now watch here. He's going to get hit at the same time. The two defensive backs, Campbell falls down, and he just keeps going. Now watch this great block right here by Travis Watkins on number 10, Alan Bishop, as he picks up additional yards.
59-yard gain to the 27-yard line of Michigan, and for the first time, Iowa is in the Michigan end of the field. Hartley back. Little shovel pass. Kevin Harmon. That fooled absolutely nobody. Excellent play by Osmond, number 94. They call him the rubber band man. Why? Because when they block him, he just stretches out, still makes the tackle. He is a freshman out of North Hills, Pennsylvania. They're very excited about him, and playing today in place of Billy Harris, who's out with an ankle injury.
We were talking about North Hills football just a bit. I used to live in that area outside of Pittsburgh. His team, North Hills High School, is ranked number 1 in America. High school football.
Loss of 3, second down, 13. Early split out. Now, wait a minute. Stoppage as the officials conferring with Bo Schembechler. Bo got the attention of the officials, and they're going to go over and visit with Bo. Wants to be absolutely sure that they have the marker in the right place, I guess.
Looks like he's moving the team back away from the marker. They're just crowding it, and their enthusiasm to watch the game.
Well, anyway, it's going to be second down, 13, almost 14 yards to go from the 31-yard line. I'll tell you, Bo gets your attention down there.
Well, he sure does. Now, the official...
Sideline warning against Michigan at 10:56, number 1.
Okay, they get warning. He's made that official. He's documented. If he just tells them and doesn't make it an official warning, it's as if it never occurred. If they continue to do that, crowd the sideline where they can't see the markers, the officials don't have a clear view, that team can be penalized.
Alex Agassi, who's a volunteer coach, is down there, and he is venting his frustration at one of the players. Well, we watched practice this week, and Alex picking on a freshman. I hope that freshman's still in camp.
Well, he's in camp. He only picked on him because he likes him. He thinks he's going to be good.
Well, I'd hate for him not to like me after that.
Well, Alan Jefferson, he was saying just that. He says when they don't talk to you, that's when you have to worry.
Well, Bo has mellowed a little bit. I mean, since he's had some health problems, he gets his monthly cigar, his weekly steak, walks. He's been shelved a little bit with the with the problems with the kidney stones. Second down now, 14. Time to throw, and he takes advantage of it. That's Quinn Early, and he initially had the first down, but trying to maneuver for more, did he lose the first down? He's very close to it at the 18-yard line. Early has been beat up. He has a knee and ankle problem. That'll be a pickup of 13 yards, but they needed more than that. I don't believe they got the first down. Let's see.
We'll take a look. Early, one of the top receivers in the country. Very often you'll make a catch, and the official will give him the mark. Now here, he's just trying to step away, but there was contact made. I'm surprised they didn't give him a better mark. That was Doug Mallory, number 8, making the stop.
Well, they're short. It's 3rd and 1. Hartley rolling out. Has a blocker ahead of him. He's going to run for the first down. He's inside the 15, and a flag is thrown. We may have a late hit on the play. Hartley, who they consider to be the best run-pass quarterback of the 3, showed very, very good judgment that time as he rolled out to the far side of the field.
Well, that play left the line of scrimmage. It looked as if someone from Michigan had jumped offside. That flag's on the far side of the field.
That was at the point of impact, and I thought maybe...
Coming in with the helmet. Half the distance. We have a defensive helmet contact foul against number 65. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
That's Cornelius Simpson, the linebacker, aiming with the helmet. In other words, he was spearing him. You know, that's illegal. Right there, you see the block. Instead of using his shoulders, he makes that contact with the helmet in the back.
Hey, wait a minute. That was a little bit close, I thought. I didn't think it was all that flagrant, but they're going to mark the yardage off to the 7-yard line. He was there as he was going down. I know they want to protect him. You obviously don't want anybody spearing anyone, but that will give him a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line.
Oh, he's a quarterback. Both these teams have had major injuries, and when he sees something like that with the helmet and the spear, the official just wants to be sure it doesn't continue.
1st and goal at the 7-yard line. Get to Stewart. Stewart won't even get to the 5. As the Maize and Blue reacting well, and there is Cooper, number 92, out of Kettering High School in Detroit. Now, he was an outside linebacker last week. He's been hurt. He was hurt against Washington State, and we watched him this week. He was studying a lot of film tape because he's calling the defensive signals, and that put a new responsibility in his lap.
And he was taking it very seriously. He also told us if he had a little problem, if he couldn't remember something, he'd just look over to the other inside linebacker, which is Cornelius Simpson, for help.
2nd down and goal now from the 6. Hartley in the end zone. Touchdown. That's the tight end, Craig Clark.
In the 2nd period, Chuck Hartley, with the help of his tight end, brings this Iowa football team down the field. You see the power he has on the ball. Just zips it right in there past number 8, Doug Mallory, for Iowa's first score. You talk about a guy who is a winner. Chuck Buchanan, who played for Penn State, people said didn't have the great arm, but somehow he always kept his team winning. And there's the extra point, which is good.
Rob Houtland adds a point after. It's 16-7. That was the first touchdown catch of the year for Craig Clark.
Speed and defense. Minnesota, power and pitching. The World Series Game 1 tonight on ABC Sports.
What a backdrop for Big Ten football. The change into the leaves. An autumn day here in Ann Arbor. Michigan, after jumping to a 16-0 lead, holding Iowa without a first down, and all of a sudden this game kind of pivoted around when Hartley hit his tight end Marv Cook for 54 yards, eventually setting up the touchdown toss to the other tight end, Craig Clark. Iowa climbing back, and they had to wait until they could get their field position to really put their game plan into effect.
And in this particular drive, they just took their own field position. An excellent drive going down the field, taking advantage of opportunities, and just coming up with big plays.
So the 6-yard touchdown pass from Hartley. Hartley has been hitting 71% of his passes. He's thrown only 2 interceptions. Interestingly enough, Lynn, Iowa has thrown 6 interceptions this year, and they all occurred in one game. It was against Kansas State, and all 3 quarterbacks threw 2 each.
All 3 got into the ball game. They were looking at them all, each threw 2. That was the last one. And they're averaging 31 passes a game, so that's quite a feat. When you look at Hart leads averaging 71% passing completion, and the whole team is averaging 59%, over 59%.
So Houtland, who added the point after, will kick off. Colazar and Jamie Morris go back deep. to 7. Michigan.
This is the first time that Michigan's going to receive the football from a kickoff in this half.
You remember earlier Gillette had a tough time keeping the ball on the tee, and now Houtland likewise. The wind swirls here, and talking to the field goal kicker Gillette, he says it's very hard to tell what direction it's blowing. He says as long as you're down in this bowl, it doesn't affect it that much. But boy, you get it up in the air very high, and it really does.
And that's important to note for a punter who has to drop the ball before he kicks it. It doesn't affect that drop very often.
Allen ready, 9:08 to go, first half. Line drive affair. Colazar takes it on the bounce. And Colazar will bring it out to the 25. Well, we said way back at the start of this broadcast that a missed extra point could come in and be very important, and here's the one that Gillette had blocked.
Keep in mind that the last two football games over the years, the last 2 years, have been decided by field goals. And that 1 point is going to be real important. That was Merton Hanks, number 45, who came up with that big 1 point stop.
And again, Gillette had hit 66 straight PATs. In fact, he was 76 of 77 for his career.
All that means that possibly in the fourth quarter, once again, it could be on the kicker's foot.
Michigan now just short of their own 25-yard line. Demetrius Brown has 3 wideouts. On a throw, swings it out to Morris on the screen. Gamey will bring it out to the 30-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5 yards. It'll bring up second down and 5. Brown is playing very well today. He seems to be calm, cool, poised, looking for his receivers, has moved the ball around, and playing with confidence that you might not expect from a guy who suffered 7 interceptions a week ago.
And I believe that is the reason why we just saw him throw the football on first down. The ground game has been working well enough. He's dropped in some passes, a big pass play for a touchdown. Now they're going to try and keep Iowa off balance and control the football.
Second down 5, and Morris very close to the first down. Out across the 35, Joe Mott made the stop for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Monday night, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys beginning at 9 o'clock Eastern right here on ABC. I think the players got a surprise this week, didn't they?
Yeah, when they walked in on Wednesday, they said, "Welcome, boys. Here's $500, but you're not playing on Sunday." I'll tell you one thing, Gary, or Monday night. I don't want to be there this Sunday, next Monday, or the next week when the real players come back. It's not going to be a lot of fun.
Be some anger, huh?
Yeah.
That last carry by Morris was the first down, and on first down, Jamie now adds 2 more yards to his total, brings up second down 8. Jamie coming in here at 687 yards. He needed 485 to pass Butch Wolfick as the all-time leading rusher for Michigan. He's also on pace to smash the single-season rushing mark. Rob Lytle had that one. He set it in 76 when he had 1,469 yards. Pretty good for a guy they thought would be only a kick returner.
Yeah, that's right.
Bill Webb now checks into the backfield on a second down and 8. Play action fake by Brown, swinging it out to Colazar. First down to the 50, and he is clotheslined at the 50-yard line. Pretty stiff tackle that time by Kerry Burt. It'll be a Michigan first down.
Where's the flag? Let's take a look at this. Michigan was called for spearing, making contact with the head on the play. It is illegal to make head tackles in football. Now watch this play. And unless his arm hits the shoulder pads first, it should be a penalty. That's Kerry Burke, number 3. That was a head tackle all the way. No place in football for that tackle.
14-yard pickup. Kerry Burke leading the nation in interceptions with 5, making the stop. Here's Morris cutting it back. Good blocking up front that time. Picks up 4 yards. Be second down 6. J.J. Puck made the stop. Puck has been having a lot of problems with his back. He's had some spasms. As Hayden Fry would say in his Texas vernacular, he's still wounded.
You got to play with those little injuries, and Hayden needs him out there today, so he'll be there.
Huck and Foster alternating in one of those linebacker spots for this Iowa team. Second down, 7 yards to go. Morris and Bunch in the backfield behind Brown. Callaway split to the near side. He's joined by Welburn. Here is Jamie showing the quick feet inside the 45 to the 44. Let's go back down to Steve.
Thank you, Gary. Charles Franklin is one of the cheerleaders for Michigan. He spends most of his day on his hands. Charles, what's it like to watch a football game this way?
Well, kind of exciting, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see what's going on when you're upset.
Charles, stop. There's a linebacker about to hit you. Gary, this guy doesn't know if he's up or down.
What's he got that around his wrist? What are those, pads or something?
Support.
Support, okay. I tell you, Steve finds him down there, doesn't he? I'm worried about him. Third down and 5 now. Here's Brown on target to McMurtry. First down at the 26, and that ball was thrown on a line. He had something on that one. Hank and Sistrunk make the stop.
McMurtry running a very good in route. The receivers for Michigan have some options depending on the coverage. Here he gets the off coverage, comes down, makes a good cut here, and just across the ball, throwing in between the linebackers and just in front of number 45, Merton Hanks. We've been calling Hanks a lot.
Yep. Well, of course, he blocked that point after that's so big. That's an 18-yard pickup. There's McMurtry out of Brockton, Massachusetts. His daddy has a hamburger stand, by the way, across from the Boston Garden. I wouldn't mind having that business, huh?
Gain a few pounds.
First down now. Bunch, the fullback. Boy, is he a tough runner. He makes you pay for it. He's inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Pick up a 7. It'll bring up second down and 3 yards to go. Bunch played at Ashtabula, Ohio. His team was 3-8 his senior year, and he wasn't even recruited. He broke the state high school deadlift record, lifting 600 pounds. So not only is he tough, he's strong. Second down, 3 now for Michigan. 16-7 the Wolverines. Inside 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him throw it again here.
Brown to Morris. Morris with a great vision that he has. Such a resourceful runner. Looks like he may have enough for the first down as he's to the 15-yard line area. Jamie Morris, when he gets tackled, you probably notice he jumps up, Lynn, and the reason he does that is his mother back in Massachusetts watching the game knows that he's all right. He says he and his brother Joe, who plays for the Giants, have a little unwritten, unsaid thing that when they are tackled, they want to bounce up and let their mother know, hey, I'm okay.
So if he doesn't bounce up, his mother will be sitting on the edge of that chair going, okay, what's the next flight out to Michigan?
Well, I'm looking forward to this tonight, Lynn. I don't know about you. It all began, the Fall Classic from the Metrodome, the Cardinals and Twins. The Cardinals, by the way, they've elected not to keep Jack Clark on their roster. And there's McGrain. McGrain pitched so brilliantly in that stretch drive against Montreal. And Viola is, well, he's just been a stopper all year long. And this is the first World Series indoors.
I have to be very honest. I was hoping Detroit would be in the series. Because if they were in the series, that way we could have just left this ball game when it's over, gone in and saw the first game of the World Series.
Let me tell you, the entire sports information staff here at Michigan is more disappointed than you are. They had tickets. They are just short of the first down. So they didn't give him the 15-yard line on the mark. The 15 and a half, so here we go on third down. They'll go to the wishbone. And guess who they give it to? Mr. Toughness. Bunch. Looked like he was catapulted out of something that time. Easily got the first down for Michigan.
He goes over the top, inside the 20. Scoring territory is the toughest place to get yardage. The rest of the field, you take what the defense gives you. But when you're the offense and you're inside the 20, and you're a good football team, you take what you want. That time, the right side of the offensive line took a few yards in their blocking. Bunch goes over the top and picks up the rest.
Huzar and Elliott on that right-hand side. Elliott just buried his guy, went right over the top of him. When you weigh 300 pounds, you can do that. First down now. Line of scrimmage, the 13.5-yard line of Iowa. To the wishbone again. Webb is in there, along with Bunch and Jamie Morris. Brown will give to Morris. Morris into congestion, and he won't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Joe Mott from Endicott, New York, and Puck over there on the left-hand side to make the stop. So it's going to bring up a second down and They lost about a yard on the play. 2nd down and 11.
Michigan seems to have pulled back the last couple of plays. A bit more conservative, keeping the ball on the ground, going to the wishbone, staying inside. And, of course, one of those plays was a short yardage play. They may have to just widen out the defense, get into more of a passing situation. But, again, they choose not to. They're coming back in the wishbone.
Jeff Brown comes out. Derek Walker comes in at tight end for the Wolverines. 2nd down, 11. Brown rolling with Huzar with a lead block. Throws it, and it's complete. The bunch will try to get to the 10, won't make it. He's dropped at the 11, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and still almost 8 yards to go. Well, we talked about being upside down. Such surprises thus far in the Big Ten, and Indiana, winning last night, is on top with a 3-0 record, and they play this Michigan team next week. And Michigan State, who plays later against Northwestern, has already beaten both of these clubs, and they have gotten past the toughest part of their schedule. They've played 5 top 20 teams in the first 5 weeks. Minnesota losing last night. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Michigan can't fall into a tie. They must win it outright to get back to Pasadena. 3rd down and 9. Brown wide open, end zone, touchdown, McMurtry.
It was a classic goal line pass. Secondary was back, and the defensive secondary doesn't have that far to back up. So the receiver, in this case, number 1, Greg McMurtry, makes his cut, makes it right in front of the defensive back, yet all across the goal line for the score.
Well, the loss to the Boston Red Sox was the gain of the Michigan Wolverines. Just a sophomore, Greg McMurtry. That's his 3rd touchdown catch of the year. Point after by Gillette. Down the pipe, down the middle. And Michigan builds their lead to 23-7. 2.5 minutes to go as the sellout crowd enjoying this one. Bo Schembechler's team playing with precision, leading 23-7. Hayden Fry going back to his notepad, trying to find something that'll work. He scored the last time he had the football, but not able to stop this Michigan offense, and in particular, Demetrius Brown, who's hit 10 of 12 for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. And more importantly, Lynn, no interceptions.
No interception. The confidence is there. He's executing a tremendous game plan.
Gillette kicking off once again, and Marciano again will return it. They're going to get a better return out of this one. Out to the 20, 25, and the guy who last year did such a good job in the kickoff and punt return department brings it out close to the 30-yard line. Marciano led the Big Ten in punt return. That last scoring drive, very impressive. 13 plays, 75 yards, and look at the time it took.
6 minutes, 36 seconds. Keep your defense off the field. Give them a chance to rest. The injured linebacking core doesn't feel the pressure. Iowa has to now play from a come-from-behind situation, which means putting the ball in the air. You have one thing to look to, the pass.
From the 28, Hartley in a little deeper hole right now. Looking to the near side. Throws it out to Early. He can't hang on. They had everybody convoyed to the near side to head up the field, but Early didn't hang on, and it brings up 2nd and 10. Coming up at halftime, we'll go back to New York and Al Troutwig for the Prudential Halftime Report. Scores and highlights around the country. And Steve Alvarez, and a very interesting story about 2 guys at Michigan that you might not recognize on this football team, but have been a big part of it. 2nd down, 10. 2:23 left to go in this first half. Hartlett, protection is there. Over the middle. He's got Early, and that'll be a 1st down catch. It'll advance the ball out to the 44-yard line.
2:16 to go in the ball game. Early is their number 1 receiver. He has 4.3 speed, been timed in that speed, been timed at 4.4. They're going to give him a lot of room, a big cushion. The secondary is going to drop back, not to give up the big play. So look for those receivers to get downfield 15 yards or so, coming across the middle, being able to pick up the pass.
Hey, you know who his hero is? Lynn Swan. He told me that. Here's the pass, incomplete. So after the 16-yard pickup to Quinn Early, Hartley not making connections that time. Yeah, he told me there's 2 guys that he really wanted to be like. One of them is Lynn Swan. Of course, I straightened him out. And the other one was Anthony Carter.
When he was in high school, he wore number 88. Then he went to, when he came to Iowa, he picked up Anthony Carter's number 1. Now he's playing at the field that Anthony Carter played on, and I just happened to be here during the broadcast. Really nice young man. I had a chance to talk with him for a bit yesterday.
Second down 10 for Iowa. 2:06 left to go in the first half. This time it'll be complete to Harmon. Harmon excellent in the open field, but the reaction is good by Michigan, and he stops at the midfield stripe. He'll be 4 yards short of the first down. Coming up was Neil Simpson, the freshman out of Highland Park, Michigan. And so Iowa's going to use a timeout. They're going to stop the clock with 1:53 left to go in this first half. When we come back, Iowa trailing 23-7 has a 3rd down and 4. Michigan leads Iowa 23-7. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Honda, who invite you to experience the Accord LXI hatchback at your local Honda dealer, and by New York Life, to help get the most out of life.
Do it again.
So Iowa using a timeout, Lynn, and with 1:53, they have a 3rd and 4 coming up now at the 50-yard line. Hartley, remember the last time they had the football, moved it effectively, the big 54-yard completion to the tight end Cook.
Obviously, they want to score to close the gap, but also at the start of the second half, they will not be receiving the football. They'll have to kick it off.
Hartley back. Deep drop. And a pass intended for Hudson. He can't hang on. That'll stop the clock, also bring up a 4th down. Hudson just hasn't gotten on track this year. The junior out of Waxahachie, not able to hang on. He's 6'2", 235. And I think on 4th down, they're going to go for it.
Ooh, that's going to be a big play, because if they don't get the first down here, there's 1 minute and 48 seconds on the clock. More than enough time for Michigan to get back on the scoreboard.
Michigan has all 3 of their timeouts left. Gillette's longest field goal has been 48 yards this year. He had a 53-yarder last year. Hartley, and it's dropped early, had the first down catch. He had the ball 3 yards far enough up the field, dropped it at the 44.
Number 24, Bobby Abrams, a linebacker on the outside, or as they call him here at Michigan, defensive end. He was in position underneath. The linebackers are not going to drop back that far to give them the easy first down. You see 24 at the bottom of the screen. The ball's thrown. He leaps out for it, just misses it. But that just miss is enough to break a receiver's concentration. Just enough where the ball slips by his hand and falls short.
But I would think that a Lynn Swan would have been very upset at himself if he had made that catch.
Well, that's Quentin Early with the headset on behind you, and I don't think he's happy about it at all.
They've been making those mistakes. First down now. Here's Demetrius Brown taking off. And he's on his way to the 30. Fumbled the football. It's loose at the 25. Who's got it? I may have been a called play. I think he had that one on a quarterback draw all the way, because he took a quick glance, headed up the field, fumbled it. We have a penalty flag, clear back at the 50-yard line.
The way that flag was thrown, it looked like it was thrown in the middle of the offensive line. It normally is holding. If it is, obviously Iowa will refuse the penalty and take possession of the football.
Burt was the guy that looked like separated the football from Demetrius Brown.
Holding on the offense. Decline. Iowa will take the ball.
Well, Iowa really dodged something there, didn't they?
Well, they dodged the big bullet.
Yes, they did. And they'll get it at the 25, still with 2 timeouts left. Let's go back now and recapture this.
See, he drops back. He fakes the handoff. Then he just steps and he takes off running. Big hole right there. If that was a design play, then the fake and everything else was exceptionally well.
Well, the reason
number 3, Burt, who made the hit for the fumble.
The reason I say that is he is not one of those guys that will take off. As you know, they've been wanting him to scramble more. He came in. I had a feeling they told him on the sideline, just take off and go, get us field position for the field goal. He went 24 yards, but he lost the football. And at the 25 now, Iowa, 2 timeouts left after Myron Kepi was able to recover the fumble. There's the pass, and it'll bring it out to the 30-yard line.
Mark Masry makes the catch. He hesitated on that catch, Gary. He should have just kept going to get out of bounds.
That's right. It's the 30-yard line. He picks up at best 4 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down 6. Clock running. 1:10 remaining in the first half. Masry in the ball game. Travis Watkins also split out. Hartley back on a 2nd and 6, and he's on target again. That's the tight end, Marv Cook, who earlier caught one for 54 yards. This time to the Michigan 47. First down, clock now stopped with 59 where they moved to 6. Still 2 timeouts left in Iowa with at least a chance to get a field goal out of this one.
23 yards on the pickup. The receivers are spreading the defense. The tight ends are going straight down the middle into the seams against the zone defense. They're not seeing man-to-man coverage. That's the kind of tactics we're going to continue to see.
On a first down, Hartley going for all of it. Early is down there, and it's almost intercepted by David Arnold. It looks like Early reached in at the last instant and kept Arnold from coming up with the interception.
Okay, let me take a guess at what they were trying to do. Early goes deep down the field. He's got to stay to the outside to spread the defense so there's a seam for the tight end. He came in just a bit too much. He drifted. The ball was thrown to the outside. Then he has to make a great effort to make sure it's not an interception.
That stops the clock with 46 seconds. Second down, 10 from the 47 of Michigan. 23-7 the Wolverines. Iowa trying to get a little bit closer before the halfway mark. Pressure from Messner. Hartley throws it. That was a very fine throw to Travis Watkins. The reason being, Messner was breathing down his neck. There's a penalty flag back at the 48-yard line. Messner was coming full steam after this guy, and he had the presence of mind as a right-hander running left to throw it on target.
He had the presence of mind to keep moving while he was throwing the football. He got it over to the sideline. Travis Watkins made a great catch on the sideline, keeping a foot in bounds, but it made
Holding on the offense.
be taken back, and it will be.
You know what? You get a guy through like that, you say, how could we be called for holding? He almost came through untouched.
Yeah, they were called for breathing too heavily on his neck.
Let's go back and pick up Messner coming from the backside.
Mark Messner has 22 tackles. He's one of the top players on this team, on that defensive unit. Look at his power and strength. He comes from the outside against Herb Wester, number 73. A little holding right there. Just gets across.
Wester out of Nashua, New Hampshire, a 290-pounder. Couldn't stay with him. Second down now, 20 yards to go, 40 seconds left. 2 timeouts left for Iowa. Hartley in trouble. Down he goes. That was Ward Manuel, number 79, a freshman out of New Orleans who has not played all that much, but coming in and putting the pressure on, and now we're going to have a timeout call. So while we have this opportunity, Iowa calling the timeout, let's go down to Iowa City and visit the Hawkeyes campus.
Being a professor at a leading university means keeping pace with contemporary ideas. For students, a university means keeping things in perspective through a balance of liberal arts and sciences. Young minds being challenged to think, to analyze, to explore. The University of Iowa, lighting a path to the future from the heartland of America.
So uncharacteristic of a Michigan team to be mistake-riddled. They had 20 turnovers coming into this game, 3 of those occurring in the first half of a week ago. They've had 1 this half, that, of course, the fumble by Demetrius Brown. But more importantly, Brown, after throwing 7 interceptions last week, has not suffered any in this game.
Maybe that's why he doesn't run the football a lot.
Well, he's 10 of 12, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But very seriously, they'd like to have Brown run more. They like his open field ability. He's a very tough kid. But he looks at himself as a straight drop back in the pocket passer.
And that's the psychology of a quarterback wanting to establish himself as a drop back passer, not as someone who's going to run at the drop of a hat.
Third down now, 25 yards to go. Deep drop by Hartley, throwing far side, sideline. The catch is made by Mazzari. Did he get out of bounds? They stopped the clock as he is close to the 40-yard line. That's still about 4 yards short of the first down. Now they're putting it back into motion.
That was as fine a pass as I've ever seen. A nice touch pass, a long distance. They start the clock, then they stop it again.
If he got out of bounds, obviously it would stop the clock. Well, let's see. Does he have the first down? No, he is still a good 2-3 yards short of it.
Iowa took the timeout.
So they have no timeouts remaining. With 14 seconds now, Houtland has kicked a 55-yard field goal. That's coming against Iowa State. Let's go down to Steve during this break in the action.
Thank you, Gary. James, Ben, and Justin drove all the way from Iowa from the game, but all they can see are the band and the players. You guys don't get to see what's going on, do you?
No.
Hey, 11 hours, which one of you three guys drove? Did you drive? Dad drove. What's on your face? Oh, it's a Hawkeye. I thought you just didn't watch. Did you guys go before you go? You know what I mean? Did your mom tell you to do that in the car? Never mind. Back up to you, Gary.
Well, you're getting awfully personal down there, Steve.
There's the view they have. When you're sitting in those lower seats over there, and those players stand up, you just can't see anything.
Especially when you're as tall as those guys are. Well, they're having fun, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Look at them.
Pretty exciting here, isn't it?
Not really.
Oh, you don't like looking at the back of these people here? 11 hours. Was it worth it?
Yes.
Okay. He said we should call a timeout, by the way, Gary, so I'm sending the message over to Hayden Fry.
Okay. Well, they don't have any timeouts left. I guess they would enjoy it more if their team was leading.
I think that's the point the young man was making.
23-7. We have a fourth down, 4 yards to go for Iowa. They've expended their last timeout. The ball is at the Michigan 41-yard line. Outland is warming up on the far side. If they could get something out of this, get the clock stopped, and then get him on the field. But they're going to have to get that clock stopped because they have no timeouts left. Movement by Michigan. They get back. Pass, nice catch by Travis Watkins. Out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Watkins from California was a high school teammate of Dan McGuire. He caught 104 passes his senior year. So that gives Outland now a real crack at this. He's still not coming in, though. The line of scrimmage is the 29. Here he comes with 9 seconds left. As I mentioned, he's kicked one 55 yards. That was against Iowa State. The school record is 56.
9 seconds is, of course, more than enough time to run 2 plays. But with no timeouts, you can't take a chance that he executes the play and not get the timeout call.
This will be a 46-yard attempt by Outland. Hartley holding. The kick on the way, and Outland has been remarkable through his years at Iowa. Adds another 3 points. 23-10. Outland 2 years ago, you might remember, beat Michigan with no time remaining in Iowa City with a 29-yard field goal.
A seasoned kicker used to that situation, the pressure, no time on the clock. I've noticed here at Michigan and most of the colleges around the country, when the extra point team, when the field goal team is out practicing, there's a coach out there who's yelling 5, 4, 3, and the kicker's imagining that situation with the clock running out, getting on the field very quickly, having his concentration intact, and boom, the kick through the uprights. And that time, he makes it.
Coming up next, out in the newly expanded Husky Stadium, Don James' team, who was impressive last week beating Arizona State, will meet USC. USC, the second straight victim in a row to the Ducks of Oregon. And again, can't afford to lose there. Well, I hate to bring this up again, but boy, that point after looks big again now, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
13-point difference in this game after both teams now have kicked field goals. 4 seconds left. At halftime, we'll have the scoreboard show. Steve Alvarez with his feature on the brothers here at the University of Michigan. Scores and highlights throughout the country.
The locker room will be very interesting. Hayden Fry, a student of psychology, what he will tell his team to get them back prepared to play in this ball game. They've had good third quarters. You know, they've got balanced scoring throughout the quarters on this football team in the games they played in the past. So it should be very interesting.
Outland, who uses a lot of golf techniques in his kicking. In fact, his dad sends him all kinds of clippings that different pros in golf use. And he has the same principle of swinging the club as to swinging the foot. The way my golf game goes, I wouldn't be a very good field goal kicker.
The way my golf game goes, maybe I should use my foot.
Onside attempt. Bostic let it go through his arms, but Michigan gets it anyway.
The quick guys were all there. They had a chance to make it, but when that ball is popping around on the ground, squibbed like that, it's difficult to pick up.
No time expired on the clock, and at the 50-yard line, where the ball will be picked up by Michigan.
I think right here, if I was Boschem Beckler, I'd line up my guys and say, well, let's try and go for it.
You know, I think they got to take some time off the clock. You can't kick a ball, and it was touched.
Well, the field goal that was kicked the last time, there was 9 seconds. They kicked it. 5 seconds were ticked off.
Yep.
So one kick, they could actually use up the clock. Where's the officials going down the sideline?
Yeah, nobody's there, though. Nobody's on the other end of the phone. Would somebody get the people at the telephone company? We've got the whole world on hold right now as we try to make a phone call.
What's happening here? No time ran off the clock on the kick. Ball wasn't touched by the receiving team until it was down. It was touched and down at the same time.
Well, this is Tom Quinn running around trying to get the ball set up and trying to get some communication with the press box, evidently. The line of scrimmage, the 50-yard line.
Is this the man he's looking for? He's so unaffected by it. That man probably has seen all the games there.
Well, now they've taken 2 seconds off.
Okay.
All right, now it's down to 2 seconds.
There was the fact that the clock did not start when the ball was kicked and then touched by the receiving unit.
And now Michigan's going to call timeout. We're going to come up with a little tricky play here, maybe, huh? You think Bo might try something?
Tell Murray, full of grace, throw this ball into space and hope it comes down into the end zone. Hope it comes down into the end zone in one of the dark blue jerseys.
Well, they need a 50-yard play. And Demetrius Brown's done a little bit of everything today. Boy, they're back, aren't they, in the prevent defense? Their safeties are about 20 yards down the field. Brown scrambling around. The clock has expired, and with a rifle shot into the end zone, and the ball is caught for a touchdown. McMurtry, 50 yards.
What a great play. Here's a man who has been saying his prayers along the way because that Hail Mary was thrown up. You'll see the crowd of people. McMurtry goes up. John Colazar is there. It's a free-for-all. McMurtry, then McMurtry hangs on to it for the touchdown. But interestingly enough, Bo Schembechler, after this play, calls a timeout.
Well, they want to go for two.
They're going to go for two.
They're going to try to get that missed point back. Look at this. It looks like Colazar had half of the ball on the way down to the ground.
He did, and saw McMurtry had it, and just let him take it.
Well, that was an athletic move by McMurtry. You can see why they're so excited about him. He's wearing Anthony Carter's old number 1, and that was one of the things he wanted when he came here, was to wear that number.
It drives home a point, Gary. When you go for the onside kick, what are you giving up? We see the onside kick so many times, and we don't see teams hurt by it because very often they don't take the chance. They take the ball, they fall on it, and run out the clock. Bo Schembechler had an opportunity. He knows this Iowa team can come back tough. He took it. He may get 8 points on an onside kick.
What was impressive, that ball went 50 yards in the air, and it was still going when McMurtry came up. Actually, more than 50. It was about 3 or 4 yards in the end zone. They're going to kick the point after now. I'm a little surprised by this. I thought they might go for 2. And now Gillette puts it up. He hit it. It's 30-10. But I thought that would be their time when they called the timeout to try to go for 2.
That's a tough one on the scoreboard, and that's a tough one mentally on the football team to go into the locker room down by 20 points at halftime because they were given no chance at all to come back from that touchdown score.
What a finish to this first half. 30-10. Michigan leads Iowa. We'll return with more of ABC's college football after this message and a word from our local station.
Welcome to the Prudential Halftime Report. I'm Al Troutwig in New York. Still to come, of course, remember, USC in Washington in the second half of our doubleheader, and tonight on ABC Sports at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Game 1 of the World Series. Well, what a dramatic ending to that first half between Iowa and Michigan. And you'd have to feel right now, with the score 30-10 at the end of the first half, that Demetrius Brown should be the comeback player of the week. Last week, he threw 7 interceptions in the loss to Michigan State. Demetrius Brown had the worst day in Michigan quarterback history. Today, he's 10 for 13, 174 yards for 3 touchdowns passing and 1 running. 11 for 13 to correct that. Now, on to Auburn and Georgia Tech. Not to be a close game, at least you wouldn't think so, but right now, Auburn leading 7-0 in the second quarter. Quarterback Jeff Berger, though, has thrown 2 interceptions. Georgia Tech is winless versus 1-18. On to Kentucky and LSU. LSU is 6th ranked. They lead right now at halftime 14-9 over the Wildcats. Harvey Williams has a 7-yard touchdown run, 12-yard touchdown run. This was in the first quarter on a beautiful day in Baton Rouge. Kentucky in the SEC is 1-0. LSU is 2-0. If LSU wins, remember, with an easier conference schedule still to come, it could pave the way for them to head to the Sugar Bowl for the 2nd year in a row. In the second quarter, following a Kentucky fumble, Tommy Hodgson to Raji McGee, 4 yards, and LSU led 14-3. And with a couple more field goals, Kentucky has come back now to trail by 5. Duke and Clemson, the Tigers 7th ranked, and should be rolling a lot easier over Duke, only 3-2 on the year, 0-1 in the conference. But right now it's 3-3 in the second quarter as Clemson plays its 4th of 8 home games. Duke with first-year coach Steve Spurrier giving Clemson a hard time today. Temple and Florida. We're keeping an eye in this game on Emmitt Smith, who, with his team leading 14-3 in the first quarter, is trying to become the fastest 1,000-yard gainer freshman in college football history, trying to eclipse the mark once set by Tony Dorsett in 1973 and Herschel Walker in 1980. Remember, in the first game against Miami, Emmitt Smith only had 16 yards. Today in the first quarter, he has 79, needing 164 total to reach 1,000. Boston College and Rutgers, 24-10. BC led in this game 10-0, but Scott Ernie, Rutgers quarterback, had 2 touchdown passes to Eric Young, and Rutgers has now scored on 4 consecutive possessions. Texas A&M and Baylor, right now it's 6-3. A&M in the second quarter. A&M won this game last year 31-10 in a close one. Maryland and Wake Forest. Wake Forest, the surprise story of the ACC, but right now one of the disappointing stories of the ACC. The Terrapins lead them 7-0. North Carolina and NC State with 2 teams that have gone separate ways. North Carolina's lost 2 straight. NC State has won 2 straight. Right now it is North Carolina leading by a touchdown. Virginia and South Carolina. Remember back in 1953 to 1970, this would have been an ACC game, but now South Carolina as an independent, leading Virginia out of the ACC 7-0 in the first. Colgate and Army. Colgate out of the Colonial League. Army still without their starting quarterback, Torrey Crawford, right now trailing to Colgate 6-3 in the first. Navy 0-5 without their starting quarterback and without their starting running back, their stars. They still lead Penn out of the Ivy League. 2-1 was Penn's record, but still, when Ivy League teams leave their league, they're in trouble. Navy looking for their first win on the year, 28-7. We'll have more in a moment. Continue with the Prudential halftime report. Switching gears now, we head out to the Pac-10, and for one of the longest gains for a single handoff now, I hand the ball off to my partner, Jim Hill, in Pasadena. Jim?
All right, Al, thank you very much. Good handoff. I hope I don't fumble it from here on in. We're about an hour and a half away from the kickoff here at the Rose Bowl between UCLA and Oregon, and a lot of people in the great state of Oregon are just ecstatic about their Oregon Ducks, and they really have reason to be, because for the first time in 17 years, they're ranked in the top 20. And earlier, I asked head Bruin football coach Terry Donahue if he was surprised at the early season success.
There's no question about that. I don't think anyone that follows Pac-10 football would have anticipated that Oregon would be undefeated at this point of their schedule in the conference race, and certainly none of us thought that they'd be 4-1 coming into this ball game.
Okay, so that's Oregon and UCLA coming up in just about an hour and a half. Another game coming up right here on ABC later this afternoon, which you will see, is USC going against Washington up in Seattle. That's where Keith Jackson is, and he'll give us a preview of that game right now. Keith?
Well, Jim, what happens in Pasadena, of course, is going to have a lot of meaning to what happens here in Seattle, particularly to the team that wins here in Seattle, because both Washington and Southern California have UCLA down the road. Both these teams having lost to Oregon. So if the Ducks could pull a win in Pasadena today, they're obviously sitting in the catbird seat. But the winner here today could very well still be most viable in the chase, because Washington plays UCLA in Pasadena November 14, and then USC plays UCLA on November 21 in the Coliseum. The Southern California Trojans, coming off the loss to Oregon at Eugene last week, they're still searching for cohesion, particularly among their special teams people. The Washington Huskies, on the other hand, played their best game of the season against Arizona State in winning over the Sun Devils here in Seattle last week, so they're sky high and very optimistic. But it'll be a typical Washington-USC dogfight today. Two big, strong teams rattling and knocking at each other around, and both of them figure if they can win the game, they're still very much in the hunt for Pasadena and the Rose Bowl. Now let's go back to Al Trotwig in New York.
All right, Keith, weather looks pretty good in Washington today. Interesting, USC coach Larry Smith had his team practice with waterlogged footballs, so they'd get used to the feel of all heavy football should it have rained in Washington. We'll be back with the Prudential Halftime Report in a moment. A few more scores as we continue on the Prudential Halftime Report. West Virginia led by Major Harris, who has 2 touchdown runs, one of 64 yards, one of 16 yards, leading Cincinnati 17-3. West Virginia leads in this series 6-0-1, looking to make it 7-0-1. Virginia Tech and East Carolina, 2 independents. Virginia Tech last in America in total offense, but right now they have enough points to lead East Carolina at the half, 17-13. The Holy Cross Crusaders have seen the leadership of their team go for a time from Gordy Lockbaum to their quarterback, Jeff Wiley. He has his 20th and 21st touchdown passes, new Holy Cross records each time he completes one, as Holy Cross leads Bucknell 21-3 in the first. Dartmouth and Harvard right now this game in the second quarter, and the Crimson lead the Big Green 7-0. Cornell leading in the series with Brown in a very close series over the years, 17-16-1. This is a battle for first place now in the Ivy League. Cornell leading by a field goal. On to Yale and those sad Columbia Lions. Columbia 0-15 at home at Wayne Stadium, and they have, of course, you remember that 35-game winning streak. We take you now to the home of the Columbia Lions, where the fans may not see the offense of Columbia score, but they may see the special teams do it. In the first quarter, Columbia punter Matt Pollard fakes the kick, then throws a 37-yard touchdown pass to John Robinson. That tied the score at the time, 7-7. You may remember John Robinson's name. He was one of the transfers from SMU who received the death penalty, but Yale has jumped in front now 20-7. Finally, in the Ivy League, Lehigh and Princeton, it is 15-10. Lehigh leading Princeton in the second quarter. The Prudential Halftime Report is concluded. We will be back during the game with more highlights and scores. Enjoy the second half of Michigan-Iowa.
At the halfway point here, 110,000 watching the Michigan Wolverines with a 30-10 lead, and Michigan, you see, not only leading on the scoreboard, but leading statistically in this ball game. And the guy that's really done the job is Demetrius Brown. He's accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 throwing, and 1 rushing. It all began on a 1-yard sneak by Demetrius Brown that gave Michigan a 6-0 lead. And then, Lynn, a play that still may come back and be big was the point after attempt by Gillette.
Gillette, we had just said that he had not missed an extra point. He had 66 in a row. He gets down, the snap and everything looks good. And right here, Merton comes in and blocks it, and that still could be a very big point in this ball game.
It was 6-0 then. Then we went into the second quarter after a 42-yard field goal by Gillette. Here is Brown hooking up with John Colazar at the 11:59 mark. This covered 35 yards.
Now, again, we're still in the first period. His confidence is starting to grow. He looks downfield, finds Colazar coming in on the post pattern. He's into the end zone, makes a good little run here for the score.
That made it 16-0. Then Iowa came back after Hartley hit Cook for 59 yards. He connected then with his other tight end. This is Craig Clark for 6 yards, and Michigan trying to climb back in, made it 16-7.
They've got 3 tight ends that rotate. This is 49 Craig Clark. They're valuable weapons. Those 2 teamed up for the big play.
And coming right back was Demetrius Brown. The first of 2 touchdown passes to McMurtry. This one is going to cover 12 yards. This is a very impressive drive, Lynn. They went 75 yards in 12 plays.
75 yards, 12 plays. They used up almost 7 minutes of time on the clock. And this is a great pass in the end zone when the defensive coverage is at its toughest.
Outland then kicked a 46-yard field goal to make it 23-10, and then with no time left, a 50-yard strike to McMurtry.
It was an onside kick selection by Hayden Fry. They didn't get the ball. Boschenbeckler called the timeout, Hail Mary, and they had the touchdown.
All right, let's go down the sideline now. Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, I saw a lot of high school kids along the field here today who are being recruited by Michigan. I think it's every young man's dream to come to play for a major university like this before a packed house of 100,000 plus, but not everybody gets to play. Some of them have to stand on the sidelines and watch. But that doesn't mean your college career has been wasted. Scott and Dave Mandel of Michigan don't think so. And yesterday here in Ann Arbor, I spent some time with Scott and Dave and their parents and talked about life on the Michigan sideline. Growing up right here in Ann Arbor, identical twins Scott and Dave Mandel had identical dreams to play for Michigan.
Yeah, growing up in Ann Arbor, you always dream of someday playing there, but you sort of think that, well, I don't think I'm good enough, or that's a long ways off. But it's always in the back of your mind.
I mean, when you grow up in this town and you wear a little Junior Wolverines uniform when you're 9, and you get a chance to wear the real regulation size, nothing will beat it.
Several small colleges recruited them out of high school, colleges where they knew they would play. Michigan, however, said they might make it as walk-ons with no promises for glory.
They had to weigh that decision at that point against maybe a more likely possibility of playing somewhere else. But having grown up here, I think it was a very clear-cut decision for them.
So the twin tight ends came to Michigan, and they've spent the last 3.5 years watching from the sidelines as Mom and Dad have watched from the stands.
We're always there early because we watch the passing drills, we watch the calisthenics, we watch the warm-ups. That's their time on the field.
They think that as soon as you get to Michigan, you're supposed to be playing. They understand there's 120 guys out there, and at least over half of them are high school Americans, and you have like 3 high school Americans per position.
This season, the clock has been ticking for Scott and Dave. Their remaining opportunities to get in the game were dwindling down to a precious few. But 3 weeks ago, the dream of actually playing for Michigan became a reality. Against Long Beach State, the twin brothers alternated at tight end the last 4.5 minutes of the game.
We've been in the stadium so long that you kind of block off the crowd behind you. But after the game, it finally hit me in the locker room. Like, wow, I finally got in there. I actually blocked someone that wasn't wearing a Michigan uniform.
Oh, did we watch the Long Beach game?
That was
Yes,
really
in fact, we watched them move up the sidelines with the binoculars until it finally got to the point where I said, they're going in. At which point our entire section that's been watching them for 4 years and all of their fraternity brothers went mildly insane.
Some would claim Scott and Dave are the ones who are madly insane, having spent 4 years practicing and working out just to stand on the sidelines and watch. But they wouldn't trade it for a starring role somewhere else.
Well, sometimes you have regrets, but then come Saturday when you look out, there's 106,000 people, and you come down that tunnel, you have no regrets. I mean, it's a dream come true to play there. Anytime you walk down that tunnel on game day, you've got to be crazy to have any regrets about being there.
It's just a thrill to go out in the field and just be a part of the whole thing. It's just great to touch the banner and have everyone screaming and yelling. It's just a great feeling to be there on Saturday.
It is a great feeling to be here. Halftime, Michigan leading Iowa 30-10. We'll be back with the opening kickoff of the second half in just a moment. Ready to begin the second half. Michigan leading Iowa 30-10. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, Today Chevrolet, and by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Plan, who remind you to carry the caring card. Well, it was raining a little bit during the intermission break, but now seemingly it has cleared off a little bit as we get ready to play this second half. Michigan rebounding effectively since that disappointing loss last week in East Lansing against Michigan State. Getting a remarkable performance from Demetrius Brown. 3 touchdown passes and 1 rushing. Let's go back to New York now. Here's Al.
All right, Gary, we're keeping an eye on Notre Dame this afternoon in their game with Air Force, which is their 4th road game in 5 weeks. You know, of course, the Irish are coming off their upset loss at the hands of Pitt last week, and they'll be doing it without their quarterback, Terry Andrzak. Well, his backup, Tony Rice, has a 1-yard touchdown run. This game just underway minutes ago, and Notre Dame leads Air Force 7-0. Let's go back to Michigan.
We talked about the fact that a lot of people think you can't lose 2 games to get to the Rose Bowl. But Iowa did once, and Hayden Fry talks about it.
Well, we have gone to Pasadena before with 2 losses, but that's an unusual year. But with the people on top of the Big Ten at this time, it's an unusual year already, so it is possible.
Well, as I mentioned also, 3 times in the history of this conference it's happened, and it happened in 1981 for this man. They went on to play January 1st in 82, and you wonder, with the thing upside down like it is, there's a lot of football left to be played, and for instance, Indiana on top, they have to meet this Michigan team next week. If you look at it really, Michigan State has the most favorable schedule from here on because they've beaten both of these teams. They have a tough Ohio State game coming up. But after playing 5 of the teams ranked in the top 20, surviving it, they played USC, Notre Dame, Florida State, Iowa, and Michigan. They now face Northwestern today, Illinois, Ohio State, Purdue, Indiana, and Wisconsin, and they do not play Minnesota.
Plus, they have been improving along the way, so they're on the upswing. with that schedule, what they can hope to do is avoid major injuries to the stars in their football team, keep their team intact, and while their opponents may not be the toughest of the ones they've already faced, they can continue to work on the timing and execution of their offense and defense and be in great position to go to Pasadena.
Iowa will kick off. People still buzzing here at halftime about the onside attempt by Houtland and Iowa that backfired on him. A 50-yard touchdown strike, making it a 20-point lead for the Wolverines. Jamie Morris and Kolazar go back deep. Houtland, who in the first half had a 46-yard field goal. And we're underway in the second half. It's going to be Kolazar. Out to the 15, to the 20. He's got a little alley out across the 25, 30, 35, 40. And Kolazar found an opening, used it very well, and Houtland, who kicked off, came over to make the tackle. And Michigan with excellent field position.
And just when you thought that Iowa was going to have a good field position or at least keep Michigan bottled up, Kolazar comes back, gives them a good return. Look at the great blocking he has in front of them. Now once again, they have excellent field position. Now in the first half, Michigan on 5 of 7 possessions scored points in this ball game. Now they're starting first possession of the second half almost at midfield.
38-yard return that time, and here comes Brown, who was superb in the first half. Dave Haight, by the way, has come back in at nose guard for Iowa, and that's good news. He was hurt, as you might recall, early in the ball game. Here's Jamie Morris trying to swing left, cut back, and Haight's there, and also some of his teammates. They bury Morris for no gain on the play. It'll bring up second down and 10 yards to go. There's Haight. Good to see him back. He's such a quality football player. You might recall his brother Mike was an all-Big Ten player and a #1 draft pick of the New York Jets. Great ball player. Second down 10 now from the 43-yard line. A lot of changes now as coming out of the ball game. 2 wideouts. One of those is McMurtry. In motion. This is Chris Callaway, #2. Pitch to the near side, Morris. Morris has a block from Bunch, and he's able to convert that into a gain to the 49-yard line. Gain of 5. It'll bring up third down, still 5. Sistrunk and Joe Mott over to make the stop on Jamie Morris. Jamie Morris comes from quite a family. His brother Joe, of course, playing for the Giants. He had another brother, Mike, who was a world-class sprinter, and his dad was a very, very fine soldier. He was heavily decorated in the Vietnam War. So there's some real toughness, some real integrity, some real class that comes out of that family. 3rd and 5 for the Wolverines. Brown gets a block, gets some time. Jeff Brown can't hang on as he is sandwiched that time. 2 Iowa defenders there very effectively. That's Puck, number 32, I should say, over there. Along with Greg Brown, 29.
They just sandwiched him.
So this series has stalled, and Michigan will have to punt the ball, and Monty Robbins will come in.
Very interesting, Gary, in that both of these football teams coming in the ball game wanted desperately to establish a solid running attack. Neither team, Michigan nor Iowa, has been able to have the great success on the ground. Iowa being forced to pass because of the points coming from behind.
The ball has really adjusted, hasn't it? This is only the second punt by Robbins in the game, and he gets a very fine roll. It's going to go out of bounds at about the 10-yard line area. So Iowa does not have the field position. A 41-yard punt. It wasn't artistic, but it was effective as Michigan leads by 20.
Explosion as the USC Trojans go head-to-head with the Washington Huskies. Next on ABC's College Football.
Iowa starting deep in their own end of the field from the 10-yard line, trailing 30-10. Hartleit's the quarterback. Missouri splits to the near side along with Quinn Early. Hartleit is going to throw on first down from the 1-yard line, and it is almost intercepted by Alan Bishop, number 10. Let's go down now to Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. I'm with Jim Abbott, the junior pitcher for the Michigan baseball team, honored here at halftime. He is a young man who a lot of people have heard about. He pitches just using one arm because of a birth defect on the other. Tell me about being honored by this school. What that means to you?
I had a decision to go play professional baseball or come to Michigan, and I You know, I always wanted to come here. It's a great school, and I'm just glad to be able to give a little something back to it.
Stand around. Let me ask you another question after this play. Gary?
All right, second down, 10. Jim, of course, playing on that Big Ten championship team that Michigan had. Quite a few of the football players on that club. Hartley, the tight end, makes the grab. First down at the 40. That's Mike Flagg with a first down catch to the 40. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Gary, thank you again. Jim, you got a couple of teammates from your baseball team on this Michigan team. Mike Gillette, number 1, who now is the leading all-time kicker.
Yeah, that's my roommate, as a matter of fact. He's a great athlete, and we've been pulling for him to get the record, and he's done a great job.
You pitchers always say nice things about your catchers.
Well, I think we have to.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim Abbott. Gary?
Thank you, Steve. Jim Abbott, quite a story. What a good baseball team they have. McMurtry's on there. Gillette is on there. LaFontaine has played on the football team. Tom Hassel. By the way, Bishop's coming out. Was he shaken up on that play?
He may have been. The pass thrown to Mike Flagg, the big tight end, he caught it backing up. And he came over in on the tackle, and it took 2 or 3 people to bring Flagg down, so he just may have shaken himself up a bit.
Well, Flagg is 6'6", weighs 250. That was a 30-yard gain to the 40, a very big completion for Iowa. Here's Hudson. He fumbles it. It's loose at the 45-yard line. Iowa may have recovered and did. Hudson looking very tentative out there on that play, and looking like number 60 has come up with the ball. That was Bob Smith, the offensive tackle, replacing the injured Bob Kraft. Very opportunistic on that play.
They came out throwing the football, trying to make something happen in a hurry. But right here on the hit, Bobby Abrams from the 24 just put that helmet right on the football, and they are lucky they did not lose it. Bob Smith was right there, number 60, to fall on top of it.
Well, they got a 5-yard gain out of that. Second down and 5 from the 45. Hartley has excellent protection, and he's on target. Making the catch, Travis Watkins. Watkins, who they are very excited about, a sophomore, steps out of bounds, another first down, and the line of scrimmage to 37. You get the feeling Iowa's not out of this one.
Iowa's not out of it. I think this is what Hayden Squad meant by having a hot quarterback to lead your team to a championship. In this game on both sides of the football. It hasn't been the running attack. It's been Demetrius Brown, who's throwing the football, leading this football team very effectively. And Hartley, although his team is down by 20 points, he has been a good passer this afternoon. He is leading his team. He feels now he has got to bring them back in the air.
It's been overshadowed by Brown, but it's been very effective. Double tight end alignment. First down. Hartley setting up a little flare pass to Hudson. Hudson lowers his head across the 30. That may be another first down. His forward progress to the 28-yard line. John Willingham over to make the stop on Hudson. They look across the way to see if it is a first down. Michigan State, who's beaten both of these clubs, and as we mentioned, with the favorable schedule from here on, leading Northwestern 10-0.
And they're doing their fair share. It would seem to me, Gary, that if Iowa wanted to get the football at the outside against the linebackers of Michigan, they couldn't do it effectively by the run, so we may see a lot of the short passes to the back, to the outside, giving them the room to run without having to get the blocking all the way out there.
They were just short of the first down. It's second down, a half yard to go, and Hartley's going to change his play. Second down, a short yard, deflected in the air, and Watkins did a great job keeping that ball from being intercepted. He came very aggressively back to the ball. Brent White, number 88, who's playing his first football of the year, got a hand on it, deflected it in the air.
Lionel Taylor, my receiver coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the great receivers in the old AFL, told me, whenever there's a ball in the air like that, if you can't catch it, you better turn yourself into a defensive back in half a second.
He did just that. By the way, Brent White, playing in this game, was hurt severely this summer in an automobile accident. Tore up his knee when somebody ran a red light and smashed into his car, but he's back today. Here's Hartley trying to scramble, in trouble. That is Osmond, number 94. T.J. Osmond. Pretty quick for a nose guard.
He did a great job on this play. He had help from the rest of the defensive unit as they strung that play out to the outside with the run option. Hartley made the cardinal sin, made the cardinal mistake. He hesitated between running the football and passing the football. Didn't make up his mind, and by the time he decided to, it was too late.
Field goal attempt coming up. This will be a 52-yard attempt. Hartley will hold. Outland got enough distance. It's not going to make it, though. It is wide. So Houtling, who earlier had a 46-yarder, does not connect on this one. Michigan still leads at 30-10.
Just scratch and match.
In the first quarter, 21.
Michigan has really been tough in the third quarter, not allowing opponents to score in their last 4 games. And Notre Dame scored the touchdown. It's 7 points they have allowed in this third quarter, and that, of course, was the opening game of the season.
And they scored more points in the third quarter than any other.
First down 10 after the missed field goal. Operating short of the 35-yard line, Jamie Morris. And Morris is able to make it out to the 39-yard line. Morris, in the first half, had 39 yards. We said he's rushed for over 100 yards in his last 7 regular season games. He did not make it in the Rose Bowl. Now he has 47 yards for the day and brings it out to the 37. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
And the way Demetrius Brown is throwing the football, he may not get 100 yards against Iowa in this ball game, but still come away with a win.
Boy, avoiding injury, though, he's going to be the all-time leading rusher. No question about it. He's well on the pace. 2nd and 7. Jamie cuts it back. Good cutback. Good reaction, however, by Greg Brown, number 29. Greg Brown is another one of those coaches' sons you always hear about. Doug Mallory plays for Michigan. This guy's daddy, Larry Brown, is the high school coach at City High School in Iowa City. There's something special about those coaches' sons.
They talk football all the time.
But you see it in every sport, don't you, Lynn? There's a certain subtlety that creeps into their play. They know what they're doing, for one thing. 3rd and 6 now for Michigan. Change at linebacker. Puck comes out of the ball game, and Melvin Foster's checked in. On a 3rd and 6, Brown short of the mark. Colazar, the intended receiver at the 43-yard line. That's one of the few Brown has not been on target with. In fact, I can't think of any pass today other than this one.
He was not on target, but it's also a play that he couldn't have thrown it anywhere else because of the linebackers and the seam that they gave him. If he had thrown it to the outside more, it would have been picked off. The outside linebackers could have made a play for it.
You can see why they stuck with this guy, though, can't you,
Oh,
Lynn?
absolutely. And the coach told us, who do you want in there? You want a guy in there that on 3rd down, he can make something happen.
Robbins to punt. Marciano is back. Big rush put on. Marciano, fair catch. He'll make it at the 30-yard line. Iowa will set it up there. They're still down by 20, but we have a lot of football left. 8:51 in the third quarter. Director Terry Jastrow, our producer Joel Philbs, have gone all over Michigan Stadium, and I had to ask where that is actually located. They're behind us, up above on the press box, looking down in this magnificent setting.
What I found interesting is that this place holds 101,000 people, but it's not that high because it's sunk right in the ground.
105,000 here today. I don't know where they put them. Hartley wanting to throw on 1st down. Quinn Early coming back to the football, and they'll give him the catch at the 38-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 7 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down.
One of the big things about the first half is that Quinn Early was not able to get his hands on the football at all. He caught 1 pass. I only counted 2 passes that were actually thrown to him in the first half.
2nd down.
3.
2nd down 2 now from the 39-yard line. This time, Watkins, along with Early, comes split to the near side. The I-formation backfield. 30-10 Michigan. Hartley giving up to Kevin Harmon, who comes back into the game. Harmon again playing with that bad ankle. He's been a very good north-south runner. He's one of those slashers. But when you're hurt like Harmon is, you can just see that's not the real Kevin Harmon you expect to see.
No, and that time John Herman made sure he just busted through, made the tackle for a loss.
So to bring up 3rd down, 4. They lost a couple of yards on that one. This time, Early will be split to the top of the field. Hartley looking that way. Early, the intended receiver, Eric Campbell, defending on the play for Michigan, and it's 4th down.
They had the right play called, a short pass to the outside. Michigan was coming with the blitz. The ball was thrown well before any pressure could be felt.
And so Adams will come in and punt for the first time, I should say, in the second half, as Colazar will go back.
See if Michigan goes after him again.
At the 8-minute mark, Adams hits it high. Colazar is going to return it out to the 30. He finds a little seam, and he brings it out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. So Bo Schembechler, the dean of the Big Ten coaches, right now in command of this game, 30 to 10. I'd like to have this outside your window at home. What a view we have.
I believe if one of the arts great Monet had seen it, he would have painted it. It'd be worth millions right now.
It's worth, I say there's no price tag on that, isn't it?
No.
It's amazing, the setting here, the leaves.
One of the reasons why I moved back east. Live in Pittsburgh.
From the 41-yard line, first down now for Michigan. They lead it 30 to 10. Demetrius Brown to Morris. Jamie Morris gets a couple of yards. They'll bring up second down 8. Let's go back to Steve.
Thank you, Gary. You know, they got 105,000 people here, but they didn't have room for the Iowa band. They were on the sidelines, and if they extend their trombones, they could trip up a Michigan player on the way down the field. So, fellas, take it easy down here. I knew I shouldn't have done that.
You gave them some ideas, Steve, is what you did.
I'll tell you one thing. They're going to have to put that trombone in the 8th position and maybe give the Hawkeyes a bit of a chance to get back in this ball game.
Second and 8. That reminds me of something I'm going to tell you after this play when he said that. 7 minutes, 15 seconds left in the third quarter. Brown to Colazar, he overthrew him. What an arm this kid has. What I started to say, you remember in the Cotton Bowl one year when Dickie Magel of Rice was going for a touchdown, and Tommy Lewis was on the Alabama bench, and he came out and tackled him. And, of course, they had to award him the touchdown. And I don't know if that's ever happened before or since. But there have been times when somebody illegally has come on the field and stopped the play.
I was on the sideline when O.J. Simpson was running on an 88-yard touchdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1976. And I had the urge to stick my foot out and triple when he ran by me. I mean, I had to fight it.
Boy, I'm glad
I don't know where
didn't.
it came from.
I'm glad you didn't. I've been embarrassed to work with you. Third down and 8 now for Brown. Getting the happy feet back there, and rightfully so, because Mike Burke, number 5, was in his midst and downed him. There's Burke, number 5, and the reason he's wearing number 5, he's an ex-quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you, when you get the happy feet like that, usually you get them for a reason. You know, something's telling you to pack it up and head down the road because somebody's about to get you.
So the loss brings up 4th and 16. And there's Marciano back. Not as big as his uncle used to be.
I asked him if he could hit like his uncle. He says, no, the way I play, usually I get hit.
Hey, how would you like to have his uncle had a chance to fight Mike Tyson after watching Tyson last night? Would that be something?
Ooh, unbelievable. Great punt.
That ball is going to get behind Marciano. Now he's going to try to return it, and he's going to pay for it. He looked up the field. I don't think he liked what he saw, but he decided to take it anyway, and he took some punishment. Well, looking ahead, a busy day. We have a doubleheader of football, and then tonight, beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern, the Cardinals and Twins. The magic of Whitey Herzog. He has kept this ball club rolling when it looked like they were going to have enough healthy bodies to play. It'll be Joe McGrain, the former University of Arizona stand-up, who is an outstanding rookie, the left-hander against Frank Viola. Won 17 games this year for the Twins. And the city, as you saw in a report earlier today on our scoreboard show, is ecstatic about the World Series and the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers. There's a lot going on up there. 1st and 10 from the 8. Hartley, tight end time, and they got him again. This is Marv Cook, and that now is the 5th catch by the 3 tight ends in this game. They have been able to go to those guys, get out of some very bad field position time and time again. Earlier, Cook caught a 54-yarder, you might recall.
Sets up. It's a good throw, but watch number 65, Neil Simpson. He has a chance to make the play, but he's backing up and just loses it right there. Trips over his own feet, giving number 84, Marv Cook, a chance to make the catch.
Well, I tell you, right out of high school, playing in the Big Ten, you got to expect maybe a play or two like that.
Oh, yeah.
True freshman. That was a 24-yard completion, and they're going to lose some now. Hartley is just gobbled up. He disappears from sight at the 25-yard line. Number 96 is John Herman, along with Messner. There's Messner.
Jumping up and down, very ecstatic, happy about it. You knew it was just a matter of time before they came in and would sack him. Having abandoned the run at this time, trying to come back into this ball game, The ball is in the air most of the time. His line has been doing a good job of giving Hartley enough time to find his receivers downfield, and you may have noticed they are going deep down the field to receivers.
Loss of 8 on that play on the sack by Messner. 2nd down and 18. 5:20 to go in this third quarter. 30-10, Michigan leads Iowa. There's a shovel pass off to Harmon. Harmon ad-libs his way out to the 32-yard line. It'll still be 4 yards short of the first down. Check that. It'll be more than that. It'll be about 13 yards short of the first down. One thing that Iowa does that nobody else does is has their tight end stand up at the line of scrimmage.
And the reason why they do that was explained to me by their offensive coordinator, Bill Snyder. He said down in Texas when they were coaching down there, they needed a tight end. They were hurt, so they put in a wide receiver. They told the wide receiver, just stand up and you'll go from there. And their offensive scheme, their tight ends do not block down a great deal. So when they stand up, they can get a good look at the defensive coverage and still not have to go down inside to get low.
3rd and 13, and Hartley gets out of Messner's grasp, comes out across the 40, and he's going to get a first down. That is a very fine piece of work by Chuck Hartley. Messner had him in his grasp. He spun out of there, lowered his head, and got just enough yardage to pick up a first down.
We said this because it came up a number of times last week, but in college football, there is no in-the-grasp rule. So even though he's held right here, he is not down. He escaped. But watch downfield. Quinn Early right here is blocking, and that block is just enough to allow Hartley to get down for the first down. Watch it again. Early doing a great job as a blocker downfield. Most receivers find it very difficult to do that and also catch the football.
He was able to tie up Eric Campbell. First down now. Hartley scrambling around. Up the field early, the intended receiver, and Campbell was on him very closely. They both made their break at the 40-yard line. The ball overthrown. Brings up 2nd down 10. Hartley's got to be a little bit tired. He's been running a lot, especially on that play just a moment ago.
He is a little bit tired. The pressure's coming in, so they're forcing him out of the pocket. And that time, because it took so long for the play to develop and the scrambling, his receivers coming back to him, everything was thrown off. He had 2 receivers going across to his left and one coming back to his right. You know, it looked like it was going early, but we don't know where the ball was going to go. He's just good thing he gets the ball away so he doesn't take the loss.
Double tight end alignment now. Both Cook and Flagg are in on the 2nd and 10. Complete to Hudson. Hudson has got the first down and then some. Across the 35 to the 33-yard line. Iowa getting big chunks of real estate right now. Campbell and Mallory over there to make the stop. They have moved the ball. And as Hayden now sends in the play, in fact, I asked him, I said, who called the offensive plays? He says, I do. He says, I'm the captain of the ship, and if the ship's going down, I'm going to go down with it.
Yeah. He takes on that responsibility.
But Iowa has really been able to pick up a lot of passing yardage in this game, only to not be able to get on the scoreboard. They trail 30-10 with 3:36 left in the third quarter. Hartley again. Oh, he keeps drilled this time. The ball is loose. Davis, 58 of Iowa, is back to come up with a fumble recovery. It was Osmond, the nose guard, that hit Hartley from behind.
The official was right there on top of it. Hartley's arm was about to go up and throw the pass. If his arm was able to go back and then move forward while he was hit, it would not have been a fumble. But his arm never got to the back position to come forward.
Davis out of St. Louis, Missouri, number 58, alertly got back on it. It's at the 49 now of Michigan, 2nd and 27.
This, if they were to get a first down here, would be the second time in this drive that they've been pushed back on first down. One was a sack of Hartley, now was his fumble. If they get the first down, this is the first down, this would be a great drive.
On a 2nd and 27, he needs a lot of it. Up the middle, the catch is made by Travis Watkins. He's still 8 yards short of the first down. It's 3rd down, but they're getting it back again, and you got to like the courage of this Iowa team. They are facing some very tough obstacles in this series and coming through.
You have to sit down and reevaluate Chuck Hartley coming in, his ability, his talent to lead his team so well, coming from behind, facing adversity several times in this drive. Now he faces 3rd and about 8 when it could have been 3rd and 20.
18-yard pickup on the last play. 3rd down, 9. Hartley in trouble. Trying to get rid of the ball. It's knocked around. They're going to rule it incomplete this time. Hartley's arm was headed downward in the estimation of the official. Incomplete pass. Cooper and Bobby Abrams were there, and it brings up a fourth down.
The official who was signaling incomplete looked like a baseball official because he had those arms stationary out there for a while and hesitating. Now watch early, number one. The pass, the quarterback is dropping back. I don't know what happened here. Maybe he didn't get the play. But right here, it looks like there's a bit of confusion because he doesn't run the pattern downfield.
You got to help out your quarterback in a situation like that. You've got to run to the open area. He did not. So it's 4th and 9, and Iowa's going for it.
Second time in the third period, they've gone for it on fourth down.
The protection there. The pass is there. It's a first down catch by Travis Watkins to the 15-yard line. A gritty, determined number 8 out of Woodstock, Illinois.
Hello, America. I'm a player. Here I come.
And Bo says, hey, what do we got to do to get this guy and his offense off the field? We think we have him in a hole, and they just climb out of it every time.
The way Chuck Hartley is playing now, the only way you're going to stop him is to take him out and shoot him.
From the 15, first down. Hartley has been hit on the last 5 passing plays, picked himself up each time. There's a little handoff inside. That's Harmon. Harmon into the 5-yard line area, but there's a penalty flag back at the 20-yard line. Good run by Harmon, playing hurt and all. Of course, he's a brother of Ronnie, the number 1 draft pick of the Buffalo Bills.
Holding 53 offense.
Oh, boy, does that hurt. That's Greg Fetters, offensive guard out of the left-hand side of sophomore out of Lamar's, Iowa. And that negates a very fine run by Kevin Harmon. So, Hayden Fry goes back to the playbook, and he's going to send it in through Mike Flagg.
You should have seen Chuck Hartley. I think Messner was the man that Feathers was blocking on. When he saw that flag go, and the flag came so late, the run had already gone by. And he just, oh, no, put his hands on his knees. He couldn't believe it.
It was 15 yards away from the point of the tackle. So at the 25 now, it's 1st and 20 for Iowa. Early goes split to the top. Single running back now behind Hartley. Everybody out in the pattern. Throws under pressure, deflected up in the air, and that again is Osmond. Number 94 getting a chance to play due to the injury to Billy Harris, and Harris may have a tough time getting that starting job back.
T.J. Osmond, quick feet, good hands. He gets off the ball well, gets off the blocks extremely well, hands up in the air to make some key plays. This is the 3rd time in the drive that Iowa has been pushed back on a first down play to cause in this case, it was 1st and long because it was a penalty. In the other 2 cases, it was 2nd and long.
Hartley with a 2nd and 20 now. Look out, here they come. He got it up. They set up the screen. That's Grant Goodman. Goodman, a fullback, and he's still going to be 2 yards short of the original line of scrimmage. Oh. Neil Simpson over there reacting well, making the stop for Michigan. So it's 3rd down and still 12 yards to go.
Timing is everything. They've got the blitz called. Lots of pressure on Hartley. Fry sends in the screen play. Look at everybody. All the blue shirts come through. Then he dumps it off. The receiver catches it. He's got 3 blockers out there in front of him. Makes a lot of ground up. Now he's, instead of looking at 3rd and very, very long, they're looking at 3rd and 12.
Boy, you can't have it deployed any better than that. Not to get any more than they got out of it. 3rd down now. 12 yards to go. Excellent protection. In zone early. Intercepted at the last moment. That is David Arnold. It looked like Early had 6 points, and all of a sudden, number 15 was there.
Take a look at it from the end zone. Hartley looking for his number 1 target, Quinn Early. We'll see him pop up right here in the middle. Early's right there waiting for the ball. But David Arnold reads the ball coming across, leaps high into the air and picks it off. Quinn Early could have done nothing to stop that pass play from getting picked off. That was great individual effort on the part of David Arnold.
His second interception, they feel he has the potential to be a great player, and you can see why on a play like that. Brings it out to the 20-yard line for Michigan. Brown, straight ahead football this time, brings it up to the 24 as we're going to come to the end of this third quarter. Hartley with 319 yards passing, and yet Iowa scored only 10 points. 30-10, Michigan leads Iowa. We'll return with more of ABC's college football after a word from our local station.
State Buckeyes battle the Boilermakers today at 3 on 7.
Back in Ann Arbor, Gary Bender with Lynn Swan. You look at the stats thus far in the ball game. All of that happened in the third quarter, and yet nobody got on the scoreboard.
Nobody on the scoreboard. Another little gem for you. For Michigan, 0 first downs and 0 yards passing in the third period.
So Iowa, they were close, but they just couldn't get it in. A great interception that time by Arnold. We come back on a 2nd and 6, and the fullback straight ahead. Cuts it to now 3rd down and 3. Coming up next, Washington against USC. Don James got his team turned around last week against Arizona State. USC losing. Rodney Peete had a good game last week, even though it was in a losing cause. And then tonight, busy day here on ABC. Game 1, the World Series from the Metrodome, the Cardinals and Twins. 3rd down, 2 yards to go now for the Wolverines. They're in the wishbone offense this time. On the option, Brown, and he sticks it into the fullback's stomach, and he chugs forward and looks like he has a first down. That's Bunch again. He needed to get to the 30, and he got across it.
In the 4th period of play, Michigan with a 20-point lead. Don't expect to see them do anything except run the football. And this could be a great ball game. Upset.
Well, that would be an upset. Syracuse and Penn State. Penn State has won 16 straight against the Orangemen. First down now, just across the 30-yard line. Michigan be content now to grind out this clock, put this one away. Morris and Haight is there. That shows you the lateral movement of Haight. A lot of your nose guards, Lynn, will make tackles that come straight at him, and they'll be an anchor. Haight is one of those guys who'll chase guys down from behind.
Well, he believes that when a quarterback scrambles, it gives the defensive lineman a better chance to go after him. And so he worked on his speed all during the offseason. He says when you drop straight back, you just relegate it to that one passing lane, that one rushing lane. But when you scramble, you move. So when they're running with the football, he has that lateral speed to catch the back.
2nd down, 11. 13-14 left in this game. It was 30-10 at half, and that's where we are right now in the 4th quarter. A little delayed on Morris, and look out. Number 95 comes roaring through on that particular play. That's Jim Riley, and talk about good bloodlines. Jim Riley's dad, Mike, was an All-American linebacker at Iowa. Brother Steve is on the Hawkeye golf team, but Jim Riley, a junior out of Dubuque, Iowa, it looks like he knew the play.
He certainly did. He hurt his leg earlier in the season, and this is his first game back for the Hawkeyes. Now, if Michigan continues to be that conservative throughout the ball game, Iowa's going to have a shot to get the ball in great field position. They didn't throw a pass. They set up for the run, and now it's 3rd and about 16 or 17. 16.
You think they'll throw here?
Well, they better.
3rd and 16. Brown to McMurtry. Broken up very nicely. And a flag coming up. Anthony Wright, number 10, was there. We may have interference.
He may have been climbing the old ladder right up the back. From this side, as we look at it, he's standing behind the receiver, running with him stride for stride. We'll take a look here on the replay. Greg McMurtry, number 1. Let's see if he puts a hand on his shoulder as he goes up and tries to make this play.
Defensive pass interference. Automatic first down.
Boy, and I'm looking at that arm on the outside. That's a tough call. That is a questionable call.
Well, what helped on that play is McMurtry's 6'3", and Anthony Wright's only 5'10", so he had to get up to be even with McMurtry. And Wright, who has been having all kinds of injury problems, out last week with a bad back. Sophomore out of Dallas, Texas, and very, very close
That's one of those plays that when the coaches look at it in the locker room next week, they'll tell him to keep doing it the same way. Don't change anything. We'll take a look at it one more time. He has to go up. He has an opportunity to go after the ball. Now watch his right arm. Right there. Maybe that's where they're saying there's a contact. Yeah, but it's still very close. We can't see it. Oh, look, Walt. He's holding on to that jersey. Coming on the way down. I don't know if he grabbed it on the way up, but he was holding it on the way down.
Automatic first down from the 39. Have you convinced yourself it was a good play or a bad one?
I'm not sure. I talked myself out of whatever I said.
Here's Bunch across the 40 to the 41. A gain of 2, second down, 8.
Well, if you keep looking, you're bound to see something. Maybe not what you want.
Second down, 8 yards to go, and boy, that would be quite an upset if Georgia Tech beats Auburn. Fifth-ranked Auburn. Kansas State coach Perry said, I'm playing Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Oklahoma State the next 3 weeks. He says it's a baton death march.
He's trying to figure out what he did wrong in life.
Second down, make it a long 7 to go for Michigan. Colazar goes in motion. Jamie Morris trying to get wide, and he gets 2 yards. It'll bring up third down, still 5 yards to go. Morris has had to work hard for his yardage. As we mentioned, he's never rushed for 100 yards against Iowa. And today, he has 44 yards, but he's carried the ball 24 times.
If he gets 100 yards, next 11 minutes, the way he's playing right now, he won't play next week. He'll be too tired. He'll be beat up and sore. Michigan has got to put the ball in the air on first and second down just to give themselves a little bit better break when it comes to third down.
Well, they were able to convert a while ago. Got the pass interference on the third down. Here we go now on 3rd and 6. Brown, the catch is made by Webb, but he had to go down to get it, and that'll be considerably short of the first down. Phil Webb with the grab, but just no chance to advance it further. It'll bring up 4th down.
He needed 5 yards. He picked up a half.
So Robbins will come in and punt the football. This Iowa team has been fighting uphill all afternoon long. They trailed 9-0, 16-0, cut it to 16-7, then trailed 23-10, now 30-10. They've had opportunities, just haven't been able to get them on the scoreboard. Robbins will get this one in the air from the 30-yard line. He hit a beauty. Marciano running over to it. He'll let it bounce, and it's touched by a Michigan player at the 18-yard line. We'll be back here at Michigan Stadium with 9:58 to go. Michigan 30, Iowa 10. 9:58 to go in the game. Iowa, trailing by 20, has the football at their own 19-yard line. They have a -7 yards rushing in this game. It's all been passing. Hartley with 319 yards in the airways. And he's going to try to add some more to that total, and does. Complete to Quinn Early, and Early advances out to the 28-yard line. He'll be 3 yards short of the first down, brings up second down and 7. You said it very well, Lynn, for a game with no scoring in the second half. There's been a lot to talk about, and Hartley makes it interesting.
He does. Like I said, this is the most exciting 30-10 ball game I've ever seen in my life. Now, I think the only way they're going to get running yards is if they figure they can drop back, hand it off on a draw, and pick up big yardage, or if he throws a pass laterally to a halfback who happens to be behind him for a lateral.
Michigan came in here, I should say Iowa came in here, averaging 152 yards rushing a game. There's the same play, this time a different receiver. This is Travis Watkins, and he has the first down.
He can't go backwards like that. He had the ball, he had another 3 yards. He saw a defender coming up. He's moving laterally. He steps back away from him, trying to avoid the tackle, and he gets tackled for a loss. He loses 3 yards by making that move.
But they do get the first down, and it's out to the 34. And Bo is saying, what do we have to do to get this guy shut down? It's been an uneasy game, I'm sure, for Bo, even though he's led by 20 ever since the halfway mark.
Well, our last suggestion was he had to take him out and shoot him. Maybe he could make him just disappear like Houdini.
There's a sidearm flip, and that's complete to Early. And Hartley shows you his versatility. He had to throw that one around the defender, and he was on target. Picks up 5 yards to the 40-yard line. Well, they have some depth at this quarterback spot. They have, as we mentioned earlier, Dan McGuire, the brother of Mark McGuire, who hit 49 home runs for the Oakland A's, and also Tom Pohalski, whose dad used to play for the baseball Cardinals.
Dan McGuire went to the University of Southern California. His alma mater will be playing.
That had to get on, didn't it?
Yes, well, I had to. They're playing this afternoon. Great baseball player from USC. A lot of them from USC. Tom Seaver.
Second down now, 4 yards to go from the 40. Hartley. Early fell down. He tried to make his cut, come back to the ball, lost his footing, and could not relocate the football.
We talked about the rain that came down earlier this afternoon. The center of the field is very dry. But all around the edges, from most of the edges, it is a bit wet there. And you see that dark spot right there? That's water. He comes out, he just slips in it, and it's down.
I think it may be misting right now. Third down, 4 yards to go. Early, an outstanding athlete, won the Big Ten long jump championship, indoors and outdoors.
1985.
Rolling out, Hartley. That's a tough throw, and he made it. The catch by Watkins. That is a very difficult throw. You have to be very, very athletic. A right-hander rolling left and have touch on the football like he did.
And he has to get it to the outside. There's coverage underneath this, so he really has to lay it out. He can't throw it out too high because the receiver is going to have to stretch there on the sideline. He makes a great move, getting both those feet back in. Travis Watkins, number 2, running against David Arnold, number 15.
Michigan's defense has been on the field a lot in the second half. Hartley now with 352 yards passing after that last first down. The running just doesn't go. They cannot get their running game going. This is Bass. Richard Bass thrown for a loss. And with the best seat in the house, here is Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. They say there are 101,701 seats. Where would the odds be beat? We found it right here behind the pole. An awful tough way to watch a football game, but it's sort of like a tennis match, I guess. Hey, is there something going on back there? I can't really see.
You have to bring your TV to the game, Steve.
I know there's something.
Can you imagine they'd advertise seat on the 30-yard line, overhead coverage from the weather. They forget to tell you the posts in front. Second and 13 out to Early, and Early brings it out to the 45-yard line.
Keith Cooper, number 92, came in, blitzed on the play. Looked like he was going to drop Chuck Hartley for a loss. But again, as you mentioned before, showing his versatility, he sidearms it out to Quinn Early.
If you're wondering about the Iowa record for passing, Hartley's got a long ways to go yet. Chuck Long threw for 461 yards in a game. There's the two that a very fine feature at halftime that Steve put together. Waiting a chance to come in, the twins, the tight end. Third down and 7. Hartley dumps it off to Harmon. Harmon gets a big block on Doug Mallory, but he's not going to be able to get the first down. He's to the Michigan 41-yard line, 3 yards short of the first down. Got a very good block. You can just tell, though, Len, that Kevin Harmon just can't move like he usually does.
No, he can't. He can't cut upfield. He can't make that quick cut. He still has some speed. He's still able to get to the outside. He just can't make the break to get the extra 4 or 5 yards with power.
It's got to be frustrating, like a thoroughbred who's running with the bad hoof. Fourth down again. Have they been here before?
I think 3 times in the second half. This is the third time.
Fourth down and 3. Three wide outs on the play. Hartley on target. Watkins drops it. That would have been a first down. Watkins, who had just made a fine catch on the far sideline, very upset at himself. They've run out of downs. Michigan will take over. 6:25 to go. Big Ten football here at Michigan Stadium. 30-10, and near the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each of the teams, and Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship in each player's name to each school to further assist qualified students in the pursuit of excellence in all chosen fields. So Michigan takes over on downs. They have the ball just across their own 40-yard line with a 20-point lead. Demetrius Brown rolling out. Wide open Kolazar. 45, spins to the 50. Oh, he takes a shot there. It should be enough for the first down. Hit very hard that time by Dwight Sistrom. Coming up next from the West Coast area in Seattle, the Huskies against USC. Chris Chandler and Rodney Peete. And again, same stories we had here in the Big Ten. Neither team could afford to lose if they want to get to Pasadena. By the way, the Sistrunk who just made that tackle is the nephew of Otis Sistrunk, who used to play for the Raiders.
And it was Don Meredith on Monday Night Football. They called Otis, dubbed him the man from the University of Mars because of his shaved head, the steam coming off of it.
He's playing with a cast on that left wrist. So after that first down catch by Kolazar, Michigan tests the inside, picks up maybe a yard. It'll be second down. Jamie Morris. Morris with 25 carries, been very, very busy. He needed 81 attempts to set the all-time Michigan record. He won't get that today, but obviously that'll be another standard that'll be broken by this senior.
There's Sistrunk and Hanks. Hanks has been having a long afternoon. He had an interesting analysis of what it takes to be a defensive cornerback. He says, on one play, you have to come up and cover guys with world-class speed. The next play, you have to come on and take up a guard and be a blocker. And on third play, no telling what you'll have to do. And he's right. That's what a cornerback has to do.
Second down 10. Kolazar in motion. Demetrius Brown right over the middle. There's the tight end. This time it's Derek Walker. Walker, the backup to Jeff Brown out of Glenwood, Illinois, a guy who has come back from a major knee operation. They had to reconstruct his knee, and getting a chance to play and making the catch. Going to be a yard short of the first down, just inside the 40-yard line.
Some of the scores there, that last play, when the officials look like a matador, just barely getting out of the way of the receiver.
Can you imagine the Carrier Dome, Syracuse, still leading Penn State, just inside the 40-yard line now. Third down, a yard to go. From the wishbone. Straight ahead, Bunch. And Bunch gets the first down, advancing to the 36-yard line. Well, next week it's going to be very interesting because this Michigan team has to go to play Indiana in Bloomington. And what makes it so interesting is, of course, Indiana leading, but Bill Mallory, who's the head coach at Indiana, will be playing against his son, Doug, who, of course, is the strong safety for Michigan. Also, Gary Moeller, who's now the offensive coordinator for Michigan. His son, Andy, is a graduate assistant at Indiana.
Yep. I think Doug's dad is here to watch him play since they played last night.
Big win in Minnesota, playing on Friday night so they could have the World Series game today. Here is Jamie Morris, and Morris to the 30-yard line. They'll be 4 yards short of the first down.
So that was an interesting tackle by number 72, Joe Schuster. He got some help along the way, but it looked like he got a hand on Joe Morris's collar, and Jamie Morris's collar, and he just kind of ran along with him until somebody tripped him up and he fell on top of it.
Jamie Morris may not look very big, and he isn't very big, but he'll drag you places. He is so strong.
5'7" to 183. He picked up 20 pounds in the offseason.
Got those long arms. And he keeps pumping the legs. Second down now, 5 yards to go. From the wishbone again, Brown on the option will cut it up the field. You can see his quickness. Going to be very close to the first down. So Demetrius Brown now getting a chance to run their option attack. Fine-tune it for next week. Let's go back down to Steve.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, you can buy almost anything here in Ann Arbor with Michigan on it. They love their Wolverines. First, you can get Michigan earrings. These are lovely for the lady in your life. You can get shoelaces with Go Big Blue. You can get your kazoo. Of course, if you're going to a football game, you don't want a baseball hat. You want a football hat. And, of course, the dreaded Michigan boxer shorts, what every well-dressed man in GQ is wearing these days, I'm sure. Back up to you.
You know what's funny about that? You're going to take it home and wear every bit of it.
Looks like that's a hat for the Conehead.
Third down, a yard to go. And they're going to get it. Right now, Michigan just coming right at them. Inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. 2:41 left on the clock. They stop it as they move the chains. Well, we talked about Michigan. This Iowa team goes home, and they will play Purdue. Fred Akers, of course, the new coach at Purdue, the former Texas mentor. And speaking of Texas, this guy from Odessa, Texas, Hayden Fry. The psychology major, always has great attention to detail.
I'll tell you, the people in that part of the country really come together in crisis situations. Young girl who was rescued down there in Midland.
From the well. There's a near interception, but not so. That is Melvin Foster. It looks like Bo didn't like that pass.
Not at all.
There's Foster. This guy, now speaking of Texas, Hayden Fry said this guy who played at Houston, played against Odessa, in the state championship game had 26 solo tackles. And he called him a wild horse rider. He says he'll follow you right into the stands to make a tackle.
Oh, yeah. He's playing extremely well. He's getting a feel for this game. You know, he's got all the great instincts and the natural talent, but he needs more playing time to understand just how to use it, just where to go with it.
Well, he's just a freshman. The penalty now is holding against Michigan. You know, Michigan has played nearly flawless football. They've had only one turnover. Last week, the 7 interceptions, 8 turnovers total. They had 20 coming into the game, and what really upset Bo was they played a 13-game schedule last year and had only 13 turnovers the entire year.
It's amazing. Look at that. Morris only gets 49 yards, and the game plan was to run the football, and yet they're still out in front by 20 points.
And Morris has never gained 100 yards against Iowa. Here's a reverse to Colazar. Colazar 25-20 and knocked out of bounds there. Colazar with that lightning speed to the near side. I think Bo kind of liked that one, don't you?
He loves that play. Matter of fact, last week, they opened up their first drive with that play against Michigan State. And it's just a play, it's the option. They've been running it all day. Sends a man in motion, and back he comes, takes the ball. And it's just a very, very quick play. But it's number 22, Dwight Sistrunk, who's a tough hitter, who comes over and makes the play.
Sistrunk is not from Mars, by the way. He's from Dayton, Ohio.
Yes, it's a little closer.
Second down, 4 yards to go from the 19-yard line. Brown, the bunch, drags a couple of people with him and advances to the 12-yard line, another first down. Iowa, I should say, Michigan has another quarterback they're very high on, Michael Taylor. He is another sophomore out of the Cincinnati area, has not played all that much. An excellent option quarterback, doesn't have the arm that Brown has. But Demetrius Brown, if there's anybody thinking that Bo might desert him after last week, you can forget that because he's come on strong today. Thought Bo said it very well. He didn't cost us victories. He just denied us some opportunities to win. And there is a big distinction when you think about it.
Great distinction here. And this afternoon, he's given them victory.
Look at this. He's already thrown for 3 touchdowns, run for another, and tried to pick up his second rushing touchdown. He is to the 3-yard line. They need to make it to the 2 for a first and goal. Go back to Steve again.
Thank you, Jerry. Now, if you think my hat's bad, look at this gentleman from Iowa. Is this classic or what? A fur-lined helmet. You paid good money for that, didn't you?
Good money. Good money. We got to go hard.
Wait, what about the ball game, though?
Well, we'll come back next week.
Okay, just don't wear that hat again, okay?
Well, if it's cold, I got to wear it to cover my bald head.
I guess that's the pot calling the kettle black, Jerry.
Well, he said to cover his bald head. You wear some funny hats when it gets real cold, let me tell you.
Second down, a yard to go for a first and goal. Jamie Morris, pile driving forward, and he's in. Touchdown.
That is the first and the only score of the entire second half. Jamie Morris, he may not pick up 100 yards. He may not be the key to the way this game is played this afternoon, but they give him the opportunity to tack on 6 more points with a touchdown for Michigan.
7th touchdown of the year. He now has 52 yards on 27 carries. Gillette, point after. And that one through in a hurry. 37-10. Michigan leads Iowa. 58 seconds left in this one. A very impressive win for the Wolverines.
Again, New York. The Rec Tech pajama party may have put Auburn to sleep. Now with 1 minute and 42 seconds left, Georgia Tech on their way to an upset over 5th-ranked Auburn. And moments ago, a 29-yard touchdown by Don McPherson to Tommy Kane, and Syracuse leads Penn State 20-0 to Gary Bender.
Stewart and Marciano go back to receive this kickoff. 47 points have been scored today. That's the highest combined total for this series since Michigan won 63-7 in 1971. Last 2 years, very low scoring, and quite frankly, Lynn, I think we figured that might happen today, but not so. I think Hayden Fry suspected this might be a long afternoon due to all the injuries and the problems that they've been having, and Michigan has just played very well. Thanks, very, very big thanks to our producer Joel Feld, our director Terry Jastro, technical director Doug Schmidt, Dick Buffington, our associate directors, Patty Rodoloso, along with Russell Brooks, our PAs, and the two guys up here keep us in line, and we need some help. Kelly Hayes and George Hill. Thanks, guys. Hartlieb has gone all the way for Iowa. He's taken a pretty good beating today. Very courageous effort on his part. And right now he's come out of the ball game as Tom Pohalski, a sophomore out of St. Louis, will take his first snap of the game. With 58 seconds left, looks like we have a mishandled snap from center. And that'll happen when you make a change at quarterback. Pohalski evidently never did get the football. And Iowa loses it. Michigan's got it.
We did not see what was going on the sideline. I was not looking to see if he took snaps from the center in preparation for going into the ball game. But very often when you do not, you get a new quarterback in there, the center's not used to those hands being there. Maybe he pulls back a bit too quickly. You get the turnover.
Pohalski last year led Iowa to 4 victories when they lost Mark Vlasic, who was hurt. By the way, Hartlieb, just to update you on him, he was 27 of 43, 362 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. There's one thing you could say about him. He didn't give up.
He didn't give up. He can play for me anytime.
There he is, the man we were talking about, Chuck Hartlieb. Michael Taylor now is the new quarterback for Michigan. Taylor on the option, giving ahead. And that gives us an opportunity now to announce our Chevrolet Most Valuable Players of the game. And as you might suspect, Chuck Hartlieb with those stats I just mentioned a while ago, and Demetrius Brown, who threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for another one. 190 yards. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet in their name to each school's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students to advance their education in all chosen academic fields. Disappointed man, but well, they've got a bright future with him at quarterback.
He certainly does. But you'll always have to remember that he came here and they didn't win this ball game, and that always sticks in your mind and sticks in your heart when you look back on your career in college football.
Here's Taylor keeping, and he's inside the 10, drops at the 9-yard line. The clock winding down, and this one's over. Michigan with a 37-10 victory. Now 4-2 overall.
Michigan Replay with Bo Schembechler and Jim Brandstetter. Brought to you in part by the General Motors Corporation. By Buick and your Buick dealer. The great American road belongs to Buick. By the financial professionals at Payne Weber. By GenCorp. By the Unisys Corporation. And by Budweiser.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Michigan 29, Northwestern 6 as the Wolverines get back on the winning ways, and we'll have highlights of that one. We'll also have a feature on the difficulty of traveling at home, and we'll also have Gopher scouting report. But first, let's talk a little bit about Michigan Northwestern. Kind of a sluggish game. Boy, the first half it looked like Michigan was flat. Did you feel that or sense that?
No, what I saw was that Northwestern was playing an outstanding game, particularly defensively. I think they ganged up on us real well. I think they thought we weren't going to pass an awful lot.
They were right.
And they were right. I got to admit they were right. And made it very, very difficult for us. Really, to tell you the truth, the two things that impressed me were the Northwestern defense, which had given up a lot of yardage, Jim, and a lot of points, played extremely well against us. And this Greenfield's a pain in the neck to defend.
The Northwestern quarterback.
Yeah, he is. He's a dancing, throwing jitterbug that makes you look bad.
One of the things about this game, though, is defensively you made a few changes. Put Mark Messner at times as a linebacker.
Well, actually, he was playing on the outside. You can see him rushing here and sacking the quarterback. Mark played an outstanding game. I thought our defense played well, Jim. They had 13 hits behind the line of scrimmage. Messner had 6 of them himself. We didn't move very well the first half. As you know, here's Jamie Morris on a sweep that was successful, but basically speaking, we didn't do a good job moving the ball.
And that play was right at the end of the first quarter, and it was scoreless at the end of the first quarter, and now we're in the second quarter.
Yes, this is a 3rd down and 1, and we get the ball down into the 2-yard line. Jim, this is 1st down on the 2. Now, we run a play in which we pitch behind Tracy Williams, and he picks the ball up for a 5-yard loss, takes us out of a touchdown, forces us to kick a field goal in this possession. And here we are in the second period, and we're only leading 3-0.
You've got to be disappointed with the fact that on a couple of occasions, you've been inside the 5, haven't been able to score.
That's right, and we always stop ourselves. We're beautiful at doing that. We stop ourselves, and that's what really hurts. The thing about here, Jim, the defense, you can see our defense pursuing well and doing a good job against the Northwestern offense. Really, they threatened only once on a long drive and scored in the second half. I thought they did a good job. But every once in a while we get a play like this where we hit in there for 6, 8, 7 yards, but we weren't consistent at all. This is a quarterback draw with Michael Taylor carrying the ball, doing an excellent job all the way down to the 25-yard line.
And with Michael Taylor in for Demetrius Brown, you knew you were going to run the option a little bit more on the ground attack.
I think so. I think he's an excellent option quarterback, rushed for a lot of yardage. But your passing game, we didn't do as good a job there. Here we got stopped again. Theoretically, you got a good option attacking. You get down inside the 10-yard line, you ought to score. And we just didn't do a good job all afternoon on that, and that's the reason that we didn't score a lot of points.
Defensively, you continue to make big plays, which I think it's got to be positive for you after, all the injuries you've had defensively.
Well, our defense up front playing extremely well, and they're the ones that are making the big plays. Linebacking is still spotty. There's no question about that. This is Colasar on a return that gets us good field position just before the half down to the 15-yard line.
And really one of the first big plays off season your special teams has made.
Right. Well, our special teams have not been bad, Jim, other than the Indiana game, which cost us the game. But our special teams have played pretty well. We haven't always had Colasar to return the punt. And that's hurt some. But here on the option, Taylor takes it in for the touchdown. We went for 2 and didn't get it. And so we end up going in at halftime ahead, 12-0.
At half, going in 12-0, you had to be, I don't want to say discouraged because you had the lead, but you had to be concerned with the fact that you were able to get in close but not score.
No, that's true. I mean, we squander scoring opportunities, and we really didn't have a consistent running attack, although we broke some plays. We just couldn't move the ball effectively, and, of course, passing-wise, we were almost nil.
For official stats, it was 1 of 5 for 3 yards.
Yeah, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
I was going to bring it up later.
I was hoping we would forget it.
I thought we'd throw that out early. We'll talk about it later in detail, all right? Don't go away. The second half running attack was a little better, and that's next when Michigan Replay continues.
I'm just glad that the coaches gave me a chance, and our whole team blocked well. Our offensive line, backs ran through the holes well, and I was just happy just to get my chance. I can't really say how much it means to me right now. We started going to a lot more option, and fortunately the holes were opening up because the offensive line blocked well. And when I did get a chance to run, the backs were getting good holes, and we just kept the drives going, and that helped us a whole lot as far as getting down the field. All of us are teammates, and we joined together, just for one big cause, and that's because we wanted to win. And as long as we can go back up there and get the jug back, I think we'll all be happy.
Right from the snap, I grabbed the boot, and I just stayed upfield, and I stayed on top of the pulling guard, and, feeling for a loss. I think we played real well, considering the type of offense they had. They had a couple big plays, but offense like that, we'll get a couple of big ones. But, like I said, we had them in some long yardage plays, and I think we did a good job.
Dave Fulkertsma up front on defense, the up front people playing very well for Michigan. And when did you decide to make the moves and move Messner outside and on occasion play him in a two-point stance at an outside backer spot?
Well, actually, we've done that for the last few weeks, Jim, ever since our linebacker core was so critically hurt. And the strength of our defense was up front, and we had a surplus of people there and felt that rather than play a three-man front, we ought to go to the four-man front because you have an athlete like Mark Messner that could play both inside and outside.
Against a team like Northwestern, that's sticky offensively because of what Greenfield can do. What does that defense do for you?
Well, what it does is give you strength inside and probably take a little pressure off of our linebacking, which is, as you know, very young. That was an option play by Greenfield.
And that's just a great play.
Well, he pitched the ball while he was horizontal position. That was an excellent play by him. They moved the ball rather. In fact, here's Messner making another play, and he was lined up at that particular time on the outside. And he's tough to block out there. He really is. We get the football back and go to the option play and give the ball to Bunch, the big fullback, and he's bleeding some yardage in there, which you have to do. Get 4, 5, 6 yards. That's good. Come back, and we're all diving on the fullback, and now the quarterback keeps the ball and goes outside for a big game.
And that's one of the things people don't realize about wishbone football is you've got to give the fullback the football.
You've got to have a little patience. You've got to have patience to 3 and 4 yard them, Here we stall again, Jim, which is discouraging, and have to kick another field goal. Well, that's 3 times. Now, we were down in there to score and failed to score. That is not good.
You got to work on that. I mean, that's something.
Well, I would hope we could do a better job in 4-down territory. When I say 4 down, I mean we've got 4 opportunities to get a first down. And we ought to be better than that.
Here's a fumble that the referees didn't call. That was
that was a marginal call there. Could have been construed as a fumble. I don't know whether he was down and that ball came loose or not. Here's a 3rd and 1 situation, and Taylor breaks off here. The reason it ends up in a big play, Jim, is because the defense is playing for the short yardage play. And when you fake into the line and they all dive in there, there are a couple backs back there, but they may not be able to handle a quarterback breaking into the clear.
They were playing almost goal line the whole game, though, too, defensively.
I would say that that's about as close to a goal line as you're going to get out on the field. But the goal line will stop a lot of plays, but as you know, gave up some very, very big plays. And that's why you can't play that defense. It's not sound to do it over a long period of time.
Here's Greenfield being sticky again.
Sticky. I mean, we missed tackles on him, and I really, I'm not so sure it isn't his ability. He's a very, very fine scrambling guy. Here he runs the option and gives the ball when we didn't do a good job with our assignment on the fullback.
They catch you in some blitzes, too, in this drive.
Well, that's what really hurt this play here. 3rd and 2. My own judgment is we should not have been blitzing, but we blitzed. And when you blitz and sink them in there and they get a hole off tackle there, they break it outside and you're in deep trouble. So they sneak in for the touchdown. Now, that drive was an excellent drive by Northwestern, but it was really their only successful drive of the day.
And then you come back and get
We come right back
play.
On a draw play. They were doubling the receivers on both sides, Jim, which means there's no safety man in the middle. And it's a matter of pursuit angles and whether they have enough speed to cut Jamie off coming up the middle. And in this case, they didn't because he was running quite fast.
He was running quite fast. I asked Jamie afterwards. He says, yeah, I had to get the guys off my back because they were saying I didn't have much speed. So he showed some speed there.
Yeah.
Last week, you made news on this program by really ripping your own team.
I didn't rip my team. I don't know where everybody got that impression that I ripped my team. If you don't want me to be honest, just say you don't want me to be honest.
That was wonderful.
That is not a rip of my team.
No, but you made some comments that were uncharacteristic. Let me put it that way. Would you agree with that?
Well, you mean that because of that poor second-half performance in Indiana. I said that we were not a very good team at that time. And we're a little better team now, but we're still not a a powerhouse.
I was going to say, you're still not totally satisfied.
No, not yet.
And what are the things that you concern you most, other than obviously what we've talked about now, is getting inside
I think,
and scoring when you have 4 down territory?
2 things. 1, I think we have to improve our line blocking. 2, you cannot function on a run alone. You've got to have a passing attack. And the third thing would be we must improve our inside linebacking on defense because we'll meet some running attacks that are going to require better performances there.
Speaking about running attacks, that wouldn't possibly be Minnesota this coming week, would it?
Yeah, and they got the jug up there, Jim. They're holding the jug out there on us, and we got to go up there and get it.
Well, before we get to Minnesota, let's talk about travel plans. Travel plans when Michigan's at home. Yes, there are those things. We'll be right back. Stay with us. That's next when Michigan Replay continues. Outfitting and maintaining the equipment of a major college football team is a big job, especially if you are the equipment manager. At Michigan, that job falls to John Falk. Moving the team and all the equipment they need each week from the practice facility to Michigan Stadium is almost as bad as a road game, but not quite.
It's a lot closer, but yet it's still a road game because we have to move from the football field house over here to the stadium. And you move 112 guys instead of 64. And you have to make sure they all have their shoulder pads, their helmets, their shoes, their hip pads, their thigh boards, their knee pads, and their wet shoes when it rains. So all that stuff has to encompass. And now you're worrying about 112 kids instead of 64 fellas.
To help move this year, Godfrey Moving and Storage of Ann Arbor has given the football program a new van. Painted in maize and blue, it's a huge help. And when on the road, it becomes a great advertising tool for the program. But even with all of that, the players must help in the massive moving project. And that's where the infamous black bag comes in.
In here, you have your shoes, your wet shoes, your thigh boards, your knee pads, your hip pads, and any other type of knee brace or elbow pad or forearm pad that you have to wear for the game on Saturday. Now, on Thursday night, every kid will pack his black bag. And we always have kind of a game with the kids. When the freshmen come in, the first couple of weeks, they're a little homesick, and a football game is so far away from two-a-day practices. And, Jim, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I start saying, men, I want to know the countdown. It's 14 days left till Black Bag Day. And I said, well, what's Black Bag Day? And I said, that's the first day that everybody gets a chance to pack their gear and move over to Michigan Stadium to play a football game. So it's kind of a deal now, every Thursday night. Hey, it's Black Bag Night. It's Black Bag Night. Come on, man, let's go. Big Johnny wants these black bags packed.
Now, you'd think with all the equipment these people have to transport from the practice facility to the stadium, that'd be their biggest job and biggest work. Well, not really. Game jerseys, surprisingly enough, cause a particular problem.
Football jerseys are either too tight or they're too loose. Coach complains about it being too loose because a person can get tackled and lose a few yards. And the linemen themselves, they want those jerseys skin tight because they don't want any defensive guy grabbing that jersey and throwing him down to the ground. So I have to have every jersey tailored. Here in town, I have a lady, and she tailors, well, she just got done tailoring the 112 Navy home football jerseys.
Well, things certainly have changed in collegiate football since I played because I never remember getting a jersey tailored, and I don't think we cared whether the jerseys were skin tight just as long as they fit.
You know, actually, the rule change is what required us to tighten up those jerseys.
The offensive line blocking rule?
Sure. And now the defensive linemen grab the offensive linemen and vice versa. So everybody wants a jersey that's too tight for them.
Well, I would have never worn a tight jersey because it always made me look fat.
No, Jim, you were quite a specimen in your day.
We've had enough of this. No more of this. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the Golden Gopher Scouting Report. That's next when Michigan Replay continues.
Now we have a new attitude. We're saying 4-0. We got to go 4-0. Win this game first up, and next week and the following 2 weeks. Minnesota is an option team, too, so the defense has to tighten up, as well as the offense has to tighten up. And we'll just have to pound them too. I think it's going to be a physical game just like this one, but we'll have to go out and do a better job than we did this week.
The Gopher game plan of 1987 is simple. Score a lot of points because to win, they'll need it. Offensively, the Gophers certainly have enough tools to put the ball in the end zone. Ricky Foggy, the pitchin' magician, runs the Gopher option offense. He is the all-time total offensive leader in University of Minnesota history. While Foggy is probably known more for his ability as a runner, he has also developed into an adequate passer, especially when it comes to the long ball. Gary Couch and Jason Bruce are Foggy's top two receivers, and they have the speed to get open deep. But the biggest offensive weapon the Gophers have is sophomore sensation Darrell Thompson. Thompson broke the Gophers' single-season rushing record last year as a freshman, and he's gone over 100 yards in every game but two in 1987. If the Gophers don't put it in the end zone, Chip Lohmiller can get his kicks and 3 points from just about anywhere inside 60 yards for Minnesota. Defensively, the Gophers are young and apply to the bend but don't break theory of defense. Linebacker John Leverins is a bona fide all-Big Ten caliber player. He leads the Gophers in tackles and sacks and is a vicious hitter. In the secondary, Warren Berry is developing into one of the best thieves in the Big Ten. He picked off 4 passes in the first 3 Big Ten games this year. The Gophers know repeating the Little Brown Jug shuffle they did last year against Michigan won't be easy. It took them 10 years to get it, and they don't want to give it back to the Wolverines without a battle. This is Joe Schmidt of KSTP-TV in the Twin Cities reporting for the Michigan Replay.
There are a couple things about this Minnesota game that are distressing. One, Ricky Foggy. He was very big in the victory last year. 2, you're on the road in an indoor stadium, and you need communication in your offense.
Boy, that's, if you want to talk about the biggest problem, there it is, communication. When you play on the road today in a hostile stadium that is loud, you got to be careful how you get into your place, and we're going to work very hard on that.
And Foggy himself, I think defensively, you know, they've given up some yardage, much like Northwestern has, but Foggy creates special problems.
Very, very much so. He's a dynamic football player. He is the most dangerous quarterback in the league, with Greenfield second. That's the way I'd rate him.
What about their defense now? Last year, they did some things defensively to really stop you.
Well, really, defensively, they lost most of those people that played against us last year. They've given up yardage, and they've given up points. And they're not as strong a defensive team as they have been. If they have one weakness, that would be it. But offensively, they're as good as any in the league. Kicking-wise, they're outstanding. So it boils down to whether our offense can do a job on their defense.
And that's the story of the Minnesota game. Before we leave today, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to a very good friend of Michigan Replay, Jim Powers, the former editor and a big Michigan fan, passed away this past week. Our condolences to his family. Also, you can listen to Michigan, Minnesota on the Michigan Football Network and WJR in Detroit. And don't forget, be here next week. The Michigan Replay comes back your way.
Michigan Replay has been brought to you in part by General Motors Parts, by Buick and your Buick dealer. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. By the financial professionals at Payne Weber, by the Unisys Corporation, and by Domino's Pizza. Eligible guests receive a gift certificate from Jacobson's, which features Johnston & Murphy shoes with a heritage of quality craftsmanship in fine leather. Johnston & Murphy shoes at Jacobson's men's stores throughout Michigan and in Toledo. And a gift certificate from Schifrin Jewelers, who feature Bulova watches with a 5-year guarantee and lifetime battery replacement. Bulova, it's America's time at Schifrin Jewelers.
Galaxy Carpets of Anso 5 worry-free nylon.